All right, welcome on into another episode of DCU Daily on Also Curious, because we have to talk about a lot of stuff that will be DC related, but of course beyond that we're gonna dive into a ton, and I do mean a ton, of CinemaCon stuff. We'll start off with the Warner Brothers stuff today, then we'll get into DCU Daily. We'll talk about all the Superman announcements that were just made at CinemaCon in Vegas, and then after that we're gonna turn the wheel back around, and what we usually do at the beginning of the show is the news. So we're gonna dive in the news after DCU Daily, and then we'll finish the show off today with an episode of Quick Hits. So to do that and so much more, let's get the show started.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always number two.
All right, Mr. I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding. You're kidding. I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne. I like that. You're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see chords.
Right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What the...
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
All right, well, today's Tuesday, and in a packed week, well, Disney gets the last word on Thursday, but today was Warner Brothers Day to present. Earlier in the day, Lionsgate and the Neon also presented, so we will talk about all of those studios. And of course, yesterday, Sony presented. You've got some other news from the world of movies like Coyote v. Acme. I think it's going to come to a movie theater near you in 2026. So to do that and so much more with me today, I've got John and Liz. Liz, how are you doing today?
I'm well. Strap in, gang. We're going to be here for about 5 hours. So I hope everybody is caffeinated and well rested.
I'm not.
We are. Well, John, how are you doing today?
I'm not well rested and I'm not caffeinated and my neck hurts. So we'll see how we go. I just had a large blizzard, so maybe that'll keep me awake, but I don't know. I might crash in the middle.
I just let you hang there for a second. We have Caleb in the chat. Honka honka. We got Man of Steel Magnolias. Hunter Iggy. There is Snyder Bros channel batching James Gunn with Aaron Fleischer. And I don't know, man. I'm not paying attention to any of that stuff.
Those people need to get a life. They need to get a life is what they need.
Lex is here saying she's got proof that we've got a new Superman, that second Superman suit. Lex, we will get into that. I don't think there is a second Superman suit. I don't think anybody's promised that. Not James Gunn, certainly. And you know, there might be, but as of right now, we're not 100% sure. But I just want to say hello to everybody in the chat. Caleb, Lex, Man of Steel Magnolias, and then we will get the show going. What's your source, bro? Caleb says. I don't know. I guess Caleb's talking to Lex there. So let's start things off at CinemaCon, right? So I kind of flipped the script on the rundown today because we usually start with the news. I guess this is the news, but it's more specifically CinemaCon news. So the presentation for Warner Brothers just finished. I don't know, like it was, if I'm doing the time correctly, it was
hour and a half.
Hour. There you go. So the hour and a half ago, because they presented from 4:30 to 6:30 Pacific time, which was essentially 7:30 to 9:30 here. And right now it's like almost 11. So there you go, John. Thank you for the math. And with that,
I'm a good math boy.
You're really, really good. I'm not good.
I used to be much better, but then, retail fried my brain.
Well, why do you need to learn math when you've got calculators? But anyway, Leonardo DiCaprio kicks off Warner Brothers CinemaCon with more footage from Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another. Now, this is the movie that kicked things off. So we're going to kind of go through all the series of events. Now, I'm going to let you know up front, Superman was the main event of the night. Superman closed the show. If you didn't know, if you weren't expecting it to be, well, there you go. So we will spend a lot of time on that, but we want to kind of get through some of the other Warner Brothers announcements. So I want to get your reaction to this, Liz and John. They showed some footage. Of course, Leo was there, and Paul Thomas Anderson's One Battle After Another. If you have seen the trailer, what are your thoughts on, again, just how they're positioning this movie? This could be potentially a hit for Warner Brothers, or do you think this is just going to be a miss because it's not a big franchise film?
You know me, it's all about in how they advertise it and market it. I mean, Leo's still gonna bring butts to seats all the time. Tiana Taylor is a fantastic actress. I'm excited for her to be in more projects, especially with somebody as big as Leo. So that's really great for her. She's gonna bring her A game. So I'll definitely be there. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And
John,
I
what are your
love
thoughts?
Regina King too. So or Regina Hall, excuse
Yeah.
me. So
I
yeah,
mean, John,
it'll
what are
be
your
great.
thoughts on this one?
I mean, the trailer looked good. Leo, yeah, he's gross, but he's a great actor. Paul Thomas Anderson, he's a little hit and miss for me. I know he's done like some really great movies, but I out of the few I've seen from him, I've not cared for. But I'm still excited for this. It looks weird and interesting, and definitely not like his other work. So I'm really curious. I don't know who Tiana Taylor is. I just know, and the only thing I know about Regina Hall is she was one of the terrible hosts of the Oscars one year when she did
Oh,
it with
come
Amy
on.
Schumer and Wanda
She wasn't
Sykes.
that bad. She's all right.
I mean, it's like
She's
when you're
okay.
next to Amy Schumer, yeah, you don't seem as bad, but still
So
not great.
Sheesh.
just a quick note. I was gonna say Leonardo DiCaprio's father was in Licorice Pizza, which was also a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. Even though he's not necessarily an actor, but he was in that movie. So, yeah, I mean, he's wanted to work. Leo has wanted to work with Paul Thomas Anderson. He said for like 20 years. So that's a big one. I mean, hey, he finally gets to do it. And the trailer we reacted to it a few days ago. I mean, you guys go back and check that out. John really enjoyed it. I mean, it feels like it's gonna be one of those movies that will probably underperform at the box office, but will be a good film. But it's not a big IP movie. Now, speaking of IP movies, Mortal Kombat 2 or Mortal Kombat, and then like, I hope they bring that in because that was the one thing about the last movie that I'd missed, that it wasn't even in the credits. Like, I need that music and I need that to get stuck in my head. But yeah, of course, New Line Cinema, part of the Warner Brothers group of studios, as well as, of course, DC Studios, they brought out some new footage, and Johnny Cage is dropping F-bombs in it. Are you guys
diabolical.
Are you guys any more excited to see Carl Urban? He says, I am Johnny fucking Cage. It's showtime. And I'm like, okay. Yeah, give it to me now.
Yeah.
It's
100%.
October.
I'm probably not even gonna watch the
in.
first one. I'm just gonna watch this one.
The first one, for what it was fine. It was entertaining enough. I mean, it's a Mortal Kombat movie. What do you really think you're going to get out of it? It was fine. The first one was fine.
I just know everybody hated Cole Young with a burning passion.
I thought it was fine. Sorry.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I can't
all
wait
in.
for
I
this.
can't
Sorry,
wait.
I'm trying to like navigate back to the article. I clicked away for some reason, but I can't wait for this because I'm like, look, the rest of that movie like was not the best.
Yeah, they just said, please. Caleb just said, please no Cole Young.
Didn't they invent that character because that wasn't even in the game?
It was an original character because it's like the first MK movie in 2021 was mid, but fuck Cole Young. Like, because it was the whole thing like, we need a relatable human character. It's like, bro, you have Johnny Cage, you have Liu Kang, you have all these characters you could choose from, and you went with an original character that nobody likes. And it's like, and he's played by a good actor. Like, Louis Tan is a good actor, great martial artist, but like,
I mean, look, they have Scorpion in it, Hiroyuki Sanada playing him. So I got, and then Katana is in the new one. I can't believe they didn't have Katana in the first movie. But I think they were saving some of these characters for a second movie, which is a little risky because if the first movie was an even bigger flop or it didn't come out during the pandemic and actually went out and flopped at the movie theaters, then I don't know, maybe Mortal Kombat 2 wouldn't have ever happened. But here we are. I'm Johnny fucking Cage, and it's showtime. I can't wait for that. All right, moving on to the next thing. Maggie Gyllenhaal, of course, isn't this her directorial debut? The Bride.
I think on for a big project, yes, but she's definitely directed some other things before.
Okay, so we recently found out that it got delayed from September 26th of this year to March 6th of 2026. It's a Frankenstein. So it's basically the Frankenstein's Bride, right? Like that's what the concept of the movie is. She kind of described it as radical and punk. I mean, John, as a
Frankenstein's monster is #damaged, guys.
Somebody was watching Creature Commandos.
But as a fan of the mythology and the genre and as a whole, do you look forward to this movie with
Not really.
The
I
Bride?
am.
I'm just gonna watch Guillermo del Toro's version, which is gonna be a cajillion times better in every single solitary way than whatever the fuck this is.
I'm looking
Like, it's
forward
got
to
a
it. I think
great
it'll be good.
cast, but
Yeah.
I mean, Maggie Gyllenhaal hasn't really directed like anything major, so I don't really know nor trust her as a director. And this kind of sounds like it's like, even from the get-go, it's kind of sounds like it's trying too hard. Like, it's gonna be punk and radical, guys. It's like, all right, you don't need to like go that far. But it's just like, just give me a good movie and maybe I'll go see it. But from everything I've heard about this movie, I just have no interest.
I'll just look at the cast. So the lead is Jesse Buckley, who you may or may not have heard of. But
have
alongside them, you've got Christian Bale, Penelope Cruz, Annette Bening, John Magaro, Julianne Hough, and then you got Jake Gyllenhaal and Peter Sarsgaard. Like, basically, Maggie put her whole family in it.
Yeah, she put her whole family in there. Yeah.
Like the whole family. And then the Warner Brothers bosses, both Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi, were there alongside them on stage to talk about it. So it looks like they're putting a lot of effort into this, and it's another one of those movies where they've got the star power. I just wonder if in today's landscape, if this is the kind of movie that's going to make money. This is the problem, right? Like right now with Warner Brothers, we talked about the other day. What was it? What was the movie? Well, Sinners is set to come out soon. But Mickey 17, right? Mickey 17 is a movie that probably deserved better at the box office, but because it's not a big franchise IP movie, it really underperformed. Even a movie like Snow White is not doing the best. But so it's like the cinema movie making business in general at the box office is struggling. So I wonder if The Bride can break through and become like a cult hit. And it will be interesting to see how much they spent on this movie versus how much they need to make for it to be considered a success. But we'll see as more news comes out. Of course, the movie itself comes out next year, as opposed to fall of this year. It's going to be spring of next year, pretty much a year from now. So this article kind of went through and did a bunch of updates, and they talked about Superman and Warner Brothers as a whole. But I wanted to kind of stop in and look at a few of the other movies that talked about before we get to Superman. Minecraft and Sinners both had a piece of the presentation. We'll talk about Minecraft a little bit more because it has a connection to Superman. But Sinners, I mean, guys, are you more and more excited about Sinners? Because they were just like, look, Ryan Coogler came out. He said it's a love letter to cinema. It's his most personal film to date. Actually, he didn't come out. He sent a video message. But Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca, who brought him on with the studio, were out there and they introduced the video message. Between Sinners and Minecraft, which movie do you guys think will make more money at the box office?
Minecraft. Well, because again, family movie again, and I've said this time and time again, the family films are few and far between, so they always make money because, quite frankly, there are
Look
more
at Snow White though.
No, but I'm saying there are. Well, you didn't hear the previous conversation we had yesterday, but there are more. So you're going as a family. You're not going as an individual or as a couple, or you know what I'm saying. Like for family movies, you're always getting 4 times the ticket holders through the door, even though the kids' prices are a little small, like less, whatever. But and also Minecraft has been advertising like crazy. They've, Sinners, they've really only started bringing out trailers the past couple of months, whereas Minecraft, it's almost been like Wicked. We've been hearing about it for months and months and months before we actually saw any footage even. So it's going to be Minecraft for sure.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Sorry. I've got Vivid Chat in the chat. Vivid Chat. That's a fun name. They're saying Minecraft projections are now 100 million plus opening weekend.
100%.
You know why?
100%.
You know why it is? Because this is single-handedly because of Superman that those projections are going up. Because everybody.
Hey, maybe it might be a part of it for sure.
But we'll talk about the Superman connection in a bit. We already talked about one battle after another because Leo started the whole presentation. But then they talked about The Bride, which we already discussed. It looks interesting, man. It was shot in IMAX. I can't wait to see more of the footage. Now they did have a small update from The Conjuring, the Conjuring Last Rites. So they didn't really tell us much, but it's meant to be take on one last terrifying true story case. So we know this franchise is sort of wrapping up now because James Wan is over at Universal working with Blumhouse now. So really, and then Walter Hamada's left, and I don't know if he's at Paramount or Universal now. So all the people who really set up this franchise and were there for to make it the phenomena that it became. I feel like this franchise is kind of like The Walking Dead. It's gone past its prime and it's still just hanging around like a zombie. So are either of you guys gonna want to go see The Conjuring: The Last Rites, or the Conjuring Last Rites? That is.
I haven't seen their latest films. I did start, I did start from the beginning with this franchise just because, they're local legends, so I always try to support, but I kind of missed out on the past couple of films. So I'm not sure. Maybe.
I mean, pretty much all of them stink except for the actual Conjuring movies. I didn't see what was it? The Devil Made Me Do It, The Devil All the Time, whatever.
That was the last one, I think.
I didn't see any of the. I didn't see The Nun.
The Devil Made Me Do It. I heard that one was like okay, but James Wan didn't direct it, so that didn't surprise me that it was not as good. I think they marketed that as that was the last one, but I guess they're doing another one. But the Annabelle movies, I've heard they're terrible. The Curse of La Llorona, I heard that was bad. What were the other ones? Like
The Nun.
Oh god, yeah, the Nun movies I've heard.
The Nun movie is not scary. I've seen it, and as somebody who can get easily scared and does not like horror movies, I was not scared. I was like, it was laughably bad how not scary some of the scenes in The Nun were. I still watch X-Files before bed and then have nightmares. It doesn't matter. It's about it's about facing your fears. I did a little bit of that today for real, actually. But anyway, fine. That's a behind the scenes backstage baseball, whatever the term is. Final Destination Bloodlines also got a new clip. Liz, I think you may or may not have seen the trailer for this. I know, John, you talked about this the other day.
Yeah.
Apparently in the footage that they showed, two brothers are trying to cheat death as it comes for them. They attempt to flatline one of them in a hospital, so then the staff will bring them back to life. But then one of the brothers has an allergy that they try to activate with peanut butter. They try to get a cup of peanut butter from the vendor, but it gets stuck in the machine. So it's like the world is out to get them, and Death knows that they're trying to avoid it. Again, like, is it just looking more and more like that Goldbergian machine gimmick that's gonna keep?
Yeah, it's like
anything original.
I mean, that's what this franchise has kind of become, because I mean, like, I've heard like I know the first three are pretty, for the most part, well received. Like, they're not like the greatest movies ever, but like a lot of people like them. And then, because I know people like the theme park one, which was the third one. I know the Final Destination everybody hated. That one got like tons and tons of hate. And then the fifth one, they were like, this is okay, but like the ending like made the movie, like, because it was like a twist ending, and it like made it way better than what it was. So it's like, and everyone thought that's where it was gonna end, because like everything kind of came full circle. But so adding another movie on top of that, especially so much, like, I don't know when that came out. That was like 10 years ago, probably at this point. I don't know when 5 came out, but this it just
movie kind of feels like an epilogue to the whole franchise.
Yeah.
I will say though, they kind of took it on the chin, saying, "See you guys at the Oscars." And we will definitely not be seeing them at the Oscars. But good luck to the movie and the cast and crew. Josh Brolin, the would-be wannabe, didn't want to be, Green Lantern, sort of, never was, Cable, Thanos, working with Warner Brothers these days, Weapons. I don't know if you guys heard about this movie. This also has Julia Garner, Benedict Wong in it, and also Han Solo himself, Aaron Reich, of course, the lesser-known Han Solo, that is. It
the one we want to forget. That's the
But the director Zach Krieger came on stage and he described it as a very twisty turny movie, and it unravels and reinvents itself as it goes. They did show a teaser trailer. It's not online yet. We'll keep an eye out if they do release it to the public. It feels like a Western. It's right up Josh Brolin's alley, neo-Western. Are you guys interested at all in Weapons?
I'll see it.
could be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I
mean-
love Josh Brolin. He's a lovely man.
He is. He's fantastic. I wish he was Green Lantern.
And I don't dislike Alden. I mean, he made the wrong choice with the Han Solo movie, but he's been in other things where he was very good. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, like when the time comes to try to play Han Solo, how many of us will be like, no, thank you.
right.
Um,
No one's turning down that check, that's for sure.
By the way, just some geeky guy with a super chat, and we got YARC9 in the chat as well. You guys are here and you guys are ready. So
You're
we will
here and you're
definitely-
queer. Let's get used to it.
And we got Jose in the chat, just saying hello again to everybody. We also have Kevin in the chat, Kevin Davis. Kevin saying Warner Brothers should have stayed at home. Their CinemaCon presentation was lackluster. Well, we will get into the Superman stuff soon, and then we'll kind of like make a judgment call on like just how much they actually revealed versus what they maybe could have. But then again, I think as far as expectations go, remember this is not Comic-Con, so this is not like a fan-centric thing. This is a business convention as much as anything else. So they will give you all the facts, but I don't know, they're not really there to be salesmen like in the way that they are at Comic-Cons. So just keep that in mind. But just some geeky guy had a question about X-Men, which we will get into. We'll be talking some Marvel eventually, even though Disney is not presenting today or hasn't presented today. But Liz, you talked with me about this yesterday on the show. F1,
Yeah.
It's an Apple original film, but it's being distributed by Warner Brothers. Hence, Warner Brothers presented it today because kind of like yesterday when Sony, we will talk about Sony later in the show, but yesterday Sony and presented Spider-Man 4, even though Marvel is making the movie, Sony's the distributor, they're the rights holders. So that's kind of been the pattern. With that, F1 was up as part of the presentation, and basically, as it says right there, their goal with this movie, like we've been speculating, they want to kind of replicate the success and the strategy of Top Gun Maverick, which makes sense because the same director and producer are involved, Jerry Bruckheimer and Joseph Kosinski, and the cast is fantastic. But Bruckheimer is basically saying this is going to be the cinematic event of the summer. It's going to be the ultimate theater experience, cinema. And they also teased that Brad Pitt actually drove at 180 miles per hour with no stunt double.
Yeah.
So they showed us they'll show 10 minutes of this movie. Now those 10
I know,
minutes
that's so awesome.
is God, like I wish I was a fly on the wall, but
I know.
You got Brad Pitt, doing his thing. His character in the trailer is a bit of an ass, so like that's kind of shown in here as well. Javier Bardem is like the owner of the team. He's the one like who runs the place. But
I feel like you have to be a dickhead to do stuff like that, though. Like you know, only assholes want to do something like this.
Well, that's the thing in sports. Like the best players have an ego. Like you got to have an ego, right? So like I think that's an accurate
you have to
reflection.
believe you're the best for sure. Yeah.
But given that Jerry Bruckheimer wants this to be the cinematic event of the summer, like an absolute spectacle. Like what did he say? He said, "Cinematic event of the summer, the ultimate theater experience." Knowing what we know about this movie, and that the 10 minutes of this that what they showed some of the action, and obviously a lot of Brad Pitt, who's front and center in the marketing. Do you guys believe this will actually be one of the biggest movies of the summer, and the summer when we have Jurassic World, Superman, Fantastic Four?
I don't think it's going to be as big as Maverick, only because Maverick was a sequel we'd been waiting for over 20 years. And they advertised the absolute shit out of it, including like behind the scenes of like how they did their stunts and how everybody went up in an F1 and all that other shit. So if they do something along those lines, if they market the hell out of it, if we see a lot of little teaser trailers ahead of films in the theater, possibly. I mean, again, Top Gun Maverick also, we've been talking about the potential for a sequel for all those 20 years as well before it ever actually came to fruition. So it's never going to have that kind of buzz about it. But showing the 10 minutes at CinemaCon is a great start, but they really need to start advertising heavily right now in order for anybody to I'm going to see it. I'm very excited for it. I'm sure.
Yeah,
I know
good.
Brad Pitt's been talking about the training and the stuff that he's done with Formula One. So hopefully they really start, making a bigger deal with their marketing in order to get butts and seats.
Yeah. Because they haven't really been showcasing this one that much.
No, not yet.
I've seen a couple, trailers. like a bit, but like in comparison, I've seen the Final Reckoning trailer. Like, if I had $1, like, goddamn, that every like, I'm not complaining. It's a good trailer.
No, it's
I'm really
true.
excited
Yeah.
for the movie, so I'm
Yeah.
not complaining about that. It's just like every single time I see that trailer, no matter what.
That is
You can probably see the Minecraft movie, and you'll see the goddamn new Mission Impossible trailer.
Well, because
100%.
Paramount knows, like you know, they run
Tom
on
Cruise trying to kill
so
himself on camera. It gets butts and seats.
It does. He's the last true movie star, right? Like that's what they say. But I mean, you guys making a couple of really good points in the chat. I brought these up earlier. Yes, figure drawing. If you are better, then you know it's not ego. I get that. I do. It's still, I would say, it's still ego, but I get your point. But then we had Vivid Chat saying it better be with a $300 million budget. Yes, I read the other day this thing has a $200 million budget. That is insane. But I mean, they want this to make $1 billion. And Kevin Davis rightly pointing out, Apple needs it because the Killers of the Flower Moon, as well as Napoleon and Argyle, they all shit the bed. Fly Me to the Moon, people forget that was an Apple movie. You go to Apple TV Plus, you're like, wait, why is this on here? This was an Apple film? Like Channing Tatum and Scarlett Johansson, Gambit and Black Widow, it didn't make any money. People forgot about it. It's you know, it was literally about faking a moon landing. The world that we live in, that movie.
I enjoyed the film. I saw it. I really liked it a lot. Yeah.
But anyway, F1 obviously has a lot riding on it. I think the franchise, it could, not the franchise, but just the F1 fan base itself hopefully shows up, because that will be a huge part of the, you know, what leads to the success of this film. And there's no Tom Cruise though, so I guess, you know, the Tom Cruise factor might come. You know, we will get to find out how much of Top Gun Maverick's success was actually because of Tom Cruise and versus the movie itself. So, which I'm guessing it's a little bit of both. But hey, let's do a little bit of DC talk. Now we haven't gotten into DCU Daily just yet, but let's talk about Dynamic Duo. John, we got a bit of a look at Dynamic Duo, but it wasn't much. All they did is show us some footage of a couple of the main characters using puppets. So it's similar to footage we have seen before, like with them like kind of showing what the process looks like. So I don't know. I mean, it's not. I guess I wasn't expecting anything. We shouldn't expect anything more, because this movie comes out in 2028. So like, just how much could they possibly have done for this? Maybe just some of the model work at this point.
Right.
So were you surprised that that's all we got for Dynamic Duo?
No, that's not. Yeah, no, that's not surprising at all. Just a little bit. Just, you know, no, like you pretty much said everything. It's coming out. It's 3 years from now, and they're just gonna give us the tiniest bit. So yeah, just, you know, I think that makes sense. I don't really know what else to say.
No, it's completely fair. Look, honestly, I didn't even expect
I'm excited
that.
for it though.
Like, I was like, that's a bit too much for them to bring out. I mean, just don't give us anything if that's all you have to provide, right? Like, it's people, like one of you guys were saying in the chat, Enterprising, I think, said like it was a little lackluster. I'm like, this was one of those things where rather than giving us a trickle of something, save it.
Right.
Bring out something better at cinema, like Comic-Con. Especially because when you're at CinemaCon, you want to talk about movies that are coming out soon. Like, this thing is not going to come out for the next couple of years. Why the hell are you showing us like a little bit of like puppetry where that's not even going to be anywhere close to what the final movie is? Anyway, the Cat in the Hat. It's an anime. There's a new animated Cat in the Hat coming, Liz. What are your thoughts about? They showed a tease for the movie, and then the Warner Brothers animation head Bill Damashka was there, and he said telling original stories and taking risks is the only path to creating new successful franchises. And he said, like, you know, what's coming in this new movie, it's going to expand the story way beyond the book. And of course, we have Bill Hader in there. He's been chasing the role for years. But this also comes from, you know, somebody who was part of the purge of a lot of things at Warner Brothers Animation, and a lot of streamlining, and the business term being, and to the point where Looney Tunes might be completely getting sold off eventually. But obviously they're not completely getting out of the animation business. What are your thoughts on animated Cat in the Hat movie coming with Bill Hader in it? And again, like what it means getting this from Warner Brothers Animation, where lately everything we see from them, every piece of news is negative, and this is, I guess this is positive. Like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. One of my favorite animated films is a Cat in the Hat movie. But it's I mean, if it gives me the old school feels, if I get a little nostalgia, out of it, then great. But it could also go in completely the opposite direction and just be super lame. So I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. But I mean, as long as it's not the Mike Myers version, I'm fine with it. So I'll definitely check it out.
Well, Bill Hader is playing him, the Cat in the Hat.
Yeah.
So, Caleb, you do not have to worry. They did not bring Mike Myers back for this one. But hey, by the way, I was just watching some Brooklyn Nine-Nine with the episodes where
Yes.
Bill Hader comes in as like the temporary chief, and then he gets like 2 heart attacks and he dies. Yes, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Oh God, that show.
Nine.
I was having a rough day, and that show definitely helped.
The best.
But yeah. Bill Hader's children were excited for the movie, but his youngest said, "Boo, Ryan Gosling." Yes, that's not Ryan Gosling there. Okay. All right. Now we have come along to the DC part of the show. Now, before we get into all of the Superman announcements, there were a few other things I wanted to get into before we talk about Superman proper, because I've got it all loaded up here. So I've given you guys a preview here. But the first thing I want to do with DC news is let's kind of make the introduction. We'll do it proper like we usually do. So let me put myself up on screen. Guys, it's time. It's time for DCU Daily. So welcome on in to another episode of DCU Daily. And today we have to talk about a bunch of different Superman news, pieces of news from, of course, we've got CinemaCon. There's some other stuff that happened recently. We've got news around Lanterns. And then we also have to talk about a couple of super chats we already got from just some geeky guys. So we will definitely dive into those. So guys, let's do that right away. We'll dive into the first few pieces of news from DC. Earlier, I came across this news. It looks like new Superman merch has dropped, and it features a bit of the artwork we talked about yesterday, but then there's also a bunch of stuff that feels new. I mean, the Superman flying in the air like that, as opposed to showing him from behind, they're choosing to show him from the front in that silhouette, which feels uniquely different to what we have seen in past iterations of the franchise. Is that a medal on the left side? I can't tell if that's like a medallion.
It looks like a
Christmas
paperweight
ornament?
or something.
Yeah, maybe a Christmas ornament.
Yeah, that looks interesting. It
That's
looked
what I
like
think it
something
is.
that's meant to resemble the Fortress of Solitude, like the lines and
Yeah,
everything.
that's
That
what
looks nice.
I was trying to figure out what it was.
This drawstring bag, I would totally get one of those. I have so many of those already, though.
No.
The long sleeve shirt with the Daily Planet on the side, that insignia.
Yeah, that looks
nice.
like a Under Armour shirt or something.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, and then you see
some
the back.
asshole in the comments fucking having Tommy Lee Jones from The Fugitive. Fuck you.
I mean,
Fuck you, Fonzo.
I'm
There we
with
go.
that
Now
guy.
that we're talking about. Thank you, Diego.
I'm with Fonzo 5 myself. This is all very lackluster to me. Like
I don't know. It looks fucking cool. I want that bag. I like
I'm
that
not gonna
bag.
get
I
any of
like
it.
a good drawstring bag.
It's not for me. We'll see what the popcorn bucket is, but it's not for me.
All right. So, we're gonna get back into more Superman in a second, but let's talk about Lanterns, shall we? So, Nathan Fillion is now confirmed, according to sources from Entertainment Weekly, that he's gonna indeed be in the Lantern show. I keep saying it. We're gonna see his dead body in the beginning of the show, and then that's gonna launch us into the investigation where the real Lanterns come to play. That is still my theory, but I mean, John, now that it's officially confirmed, do you care to speculate how much of a role Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner will have in the Lanterns TV show?
It's probably gonna be like a cameo at best. Like I can't like here's the thing with how much they've built up the show as this grounded, realistic. I can't imagine that fucking penis head is gonna show up for like, for very long. He's probably gonna show up for like 5 minutes, and then they're like, "Get the fuck out of here," and then he's gonna go on his merry way. I can't imagine that he'll do something
Penis head.
that crazy. Like I don't know. It's just like it's two different. I mean, they'll probably find a way to make him like work with it, but I can't imagine that they'll do a lot with him.
Yeah, it's I definitely think he's not long for this universe, unfortunately. And as much as I love Nathan Fillion, I don't know.
I mean, Guy Gardner's
every
great.
time-
I mean, here's the thing. When it comes to Green Lantern, it's like all of them are great except Simon Baz. Simon Baz can suck a dick. But like everybody else, Hal Jordan, Jon Stewart, Guy Gardner, Kyle Rayner, and Jessica Cruz, they're all goated. Simon Baz can. Nobody likes Simon. The only person that likes Simon Baz is Jeff Johns, and that's only because he created him. Everyone else, nobody cares about Simon Baz. So Guy Gardner's great. He had a lot of really good stuff in Rebirth. They definitely fleshed out his character a lot, and I really liked that. But yeah, I think I just I can't imagine. Like, I'm sure they'll find a way to do it because that's what this whole thing. That's what this whole universe is about. They're going to be overlapping genres and tones and ideas. So I'm sure they're going to find a way to make it work. But yeah, I can't wait to see it because Nathan Fillion's great, Guy Gardner's great. They'll make it work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they said peppered in there, so like you said, John, we'll see just how much. Maybe he'll literally be peppered in there, like somebody gets to him that hard. We'll see. But Enterprising wants that Superman shirt. That was a really dark reference. Sorry, guys. But Enterprising loves the I also love that Superman shirt. I could go for that shirt. That looks nice.
Yeah.
Especially if it's
if Under Armour didn't make me look fatter than I already do, I would probably get the shirt. But
Cool. Well, on that note, John, that's not the only Green Lanterns news that we have today. Chris Coy has also joined up with the Lanterns DC show. Of course, the role in which he joins the show, I have to kind of click through all this extra overlays to find out. Here we go. This is an exclusive, so this came across today. Chris Coy, who was last seen in The Peripherals and Bass Reeves, he has joined the cast of HBO's upcoming drama series Lanterns, based on the DC's Green Lantern comics. So he's going to be in a guest starring role. He'll play the new character of Valen Sanders, who's an intelligence survivor or a nervous truck driver, age and real name unknown. He's unbound by the laws of nature. That sounds meta-human to me. I don't know, John. What do you think? Who's Waylon Sanders? Unbound by the laws of nature, guys.
I don't know. Could be another Green Lantern who's an alien, who's like a spy. Maybe he's a bad guy. Maybe he's working for the bad guy. We'll see. The way that they describe him is very much like a guy with two personalities. So I don't know if there's any Green Lantern villains or characters like that. I'm not really familiar with a ton of Green Lantern lore. So if there's anybody that can, talk about that, then cool. But I don't really know. And I would imagine it's probably going to be villainous, if I were to say.
It sounds villainous to me. I don't know, Liz. What do you get out of that description?
I mean, gang, y'all know I know nothing about any of these characters, storylines, people. I'm here to learn. So I'm gonna see it. I'm hopefully gonna educate myself about these characters, and then maybe I can contribute a little more to the conversation.
I found him, guys. I found Waylon Sanders. He's on LinkedIn. He is retired. He lives in Evans, Georgia. He's got 198 connections. We're just doxing Waylon Sanders on the internet. Sorry. Okay. Going back to the news. Chris Coy plays Waylon Sanders. Apparently there's a real person by that name. So not the
I mean, if Walton Goggins is a real name,
True, that's true. Mana's Time saying, I love the fact that they're making a Lantern show. Making it grounded is fine, but I hope that they have Green Lanterns references by adding more Lanterns characters or something. Yes, look, this feels like another Lantern of some kind. I mean, he's unbound by the laws of nature. Either it's a villain or a hero, somebody from the Corps, or one of maybe the enemies of the Green Lantern's Corps. Now, Enterprising thing, that's a wait and see the show. Let's wait and see the show before I get excited about that news. Well, it's going to be a guest star, so I can't imagine he's going to be in many episodes. But there you go. They're filming, and it seems like they're adding to the cast pretty much each and every day. With that, guys...
I was just going to say, and we'll talk about it a little further down the line as well. I do kind of like that it seems as though they're trying really hard. We've got some big names here and there, but it also seems like they're trying really hard to give some, actors that maybe haven't been in the spotlight yet their moment. And you know, I think they're really going after talent and not necessarily like the name brand, which I really like about, you know, all of the things that DC's been doing with their latest projects. So I think that's pretty sweet. So good luck to this guy.
Exactly. The focus is on making a good show. It seems like they're bringing the people who fit, you know, the puzzle. They're not trying to be like, oh, let's bring in all the stars and then hope they mesh together.
Right.
You know, in sports, sometimes you do that. You make a very top-heavy team with all the superstars, and they just hope that they work together well. Or you build a team where everybody fits in a particular role, and it seems like here, that's the approach that they have. Now, with that, we have to now dive into the Superman part of the show, the Superman part of the show that I promised earlier. So let's do that, shall we? We'll start off, John, with the first thing that came out earlier in the day, actually. This wasn't even at CinemaCon. Well, it was at CinemaCon, but it was before the presentation. As you can see in the clip there, you had the three main leads. You had David Cornsweet, Superman. You had Nicholas Hoult, I should say, Lex Luthor, and of course Rachel Brosnahan, who's playing Lois Lane. They announced that officially, now it's not just about Thailand. It means anywhere you are, you go to see the Minecraft movie or a Minecraft movie, and before the movie, you'll get an extended preview of Superman. And that's the footage that they showed at CinemaCon. So we were speculating for the longest time, what are they going to show us? And the footage that they showed us, it looked like it was pretty heavy on crypto because we got an extended look at the scene where Superman crashing into the ice. We see more of the Fortress of Solitude. And spoiler alert, we also see the Fortress of Solitude get destroyed at one point. We see some of the robots that we saw in the trailer. So we get a bunch of stuff in there. We get some Nicholas Hoult, Lex Luthor, and then the guys came out and they talked about it. James Gunn, Peter Safran were there. So we're gonna dive into all of that. So let's do that in the order of, you know, events as it happened. Of course, I'm gonna go to this feed here because this is just easy, shorthanded way for us to go through everything. Rachel Brosnahan looking good for the show today. Of course, Nathan Fillion news we talked about. We know and that James Gunn and Peter Safran were at the presentation. And of course, the footage that we got, like I mentioned, they're gonna give it to us for the average fan to go see it in a movie theater when the Minecraft movie comes out. So now James Gunn had a bunch of quotes that came out throughout the day, and one of the quotes to the Times magazine, he said about David Cornsweet, he is Superman. Even in his nerdiness, he listens to old jazz standards, like that, what he listens to just as a normal procedure. Like Superman, he's a simple man in complicated times. Liz, what are your thoughts on James Gunn's description of who Superman is? He's a simple man in complicated times.
I mean, yeah, it's that whole like good guy finishes last. It's, you know, he's kind of nerdy, he's kind of quiet, reserved. He's just trying to make it through like everybody else. I mean, it's interesting. Like Superman has always, or at least the iterations that I've seen, it always seems like they try to make sure that he's like as like his normal everyday. It tries to be like the complete opposite of what Superman is. So it just seems like they're really leaning into that. But I mean, okay, just sure. I mean, we're not here for Clark Kent. We're here for Superman. So, you know, I think that's kind of not necessarily what people are concerning themselves with at this point.
Yeah. There are a couple other quotes that we're going to get into, which I think are even a better reflection of James Gunn's philosophy around this. I mean, in that same article to the Time magazine, he also talked about, hey, they shot a 12-minute interview scene between Lois and Clark and Superman, which I don't know how much of that actually is in the movie, but James Gunn said to see the energy and magic between David Cornsweet and Rachel Brosnahan was awesome, not to mention how incredibly prepared they both were. It was a huge relief. So this was probably either part of the chemistry test that they did to figure out this is the right pairing. But also, if that ends up in the movie, that's part of the film where like there's an interview. I'm like, that would be fantastic to kind of seeing more of that Lois and Clark interaction in a way that we don't usually see. Now at CinemaCon, of course, Rachel Brosnahan looking her very best.
That's great.
I mean, she's basically wearing the Daily Planet. I'm like, that dress, like, okay, great. Not much else I can say about it. The dress speaks for itself. She's looking proper, and basically you can't mistake that she's there for Superman. So I don't know, guys. What Liz?
I don't know. Maybe they're making like All the President's Men 2 Electric Boogaloo, and you know she's celebrating that.
Caleb is like, "Where's the news?" She is the news. I got what you're putting down, Caleb. All right, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Of course. I
ahead.
knew somebody in the fucking chat was gonna make that goddamn joke. I thought Caleb was gonna stoop that low to make that joke, but no. Elite Easy had to make the obvious Daily Planets joke. All right, okay. I didn't make the joke, by the way. Okay,
No, you didn't.
I
You're in
didn't
the clear. Elite Easy, you're the one responsible for going low. Where when you go low, we go high. So let's talk about the rest of the cast. Of course, they're also looking pretty snazzy. You got Nicholas Hoult looking like he just threw a jacket on and showed up, and then
based.
David Cornsweet is just doing his best. What is it? What is he associate? What brand is it? Coach or is it Boss? Is it Hugo Boss? Like that's the one.
I don't fucking know.
Associated.
It's
Remember
probably
that he
Tom
did a commercial?
Ford, yeah.
Yeah, he did the whole. I mean, James Gunn, meanwhile, looks like he's actually dressed like the man who wrote the comics for Superman, in a brown suede jacket, looking very swaggery. Okay, all right, cool. So let's get back to the big stuff. Now, they showed us a bunch of footage. Like I said, was very crypto heavy, and they talked about how witnessing the magic of cinema. This was, of course, the big main event of the whole Warner Brothers presentation. I just want to, before we dive into it all, do you guys think it was a good move for them to finish with this rather than lead off with Superman?
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Grand finale, good climax. Do all, like that's like building up to the
that's
big
what people
thing.
are going to walk away remembering. Yeah.
Yeah.
If anything, they're going to be like, "What was the first thing they talked about?" I just remember Superman.
What did they talk about? Like a fucking Minecraft? Fuck that. No. And like with that fucking extended preview, you're gonna get people to fucking pay for the movie and then fucking walk out. Like, cause like that, like straight up, I would get to the theater 30 minutes early, buy a fucking ticket to the Minecraft movie, watch the extended preview, and then fucking leave. I'm not watching it.
I mean, guys, there's some really fun elements that they discussed here, which I want to kind of break down a little bit. So let's start. And then just some geeky guy, if you've got your super chats, we will talk about those in a second as well. But in the actual clip, you see here in the description, they talk about Superman thanks a robot crew at the Fortress of Solitude, saying, "No need to thank us, sir, as we will not appreciate it." One of the robots replies back to him saying that. So, I mean, the humor it seems like it's just intertwined in there, and coming out the same month, literally 2 weeks before Fantastic Four, which has Herbie in it. I'm sure there'll be comparisons between Herbie and the robots in the Fortress of Solitude, so I can't wait for that. And then James Gunn also said that they're still in the throes of post-production. I mean, I don't think that's surprising to me, but John, did you care to like speculate on like how far along they might be? Are they pretty much almost done at this point, do you think? Because we got a pretty extensive preview here.
There's like 3 months and 10 days. So that's still like a lot of work to do on this movie. I would imagine, especially with the, 4 million test screenings that are happening per day, according to fucking, Jeff, I'm an idiot Snyder. It's, who knows? I'd like to believe that they're pretty much almost done, but they still need to, really get it right. And because there could be some last minute things. There's sometimes that happens with a movie. It could be any movie, not just DC. Obviously, if that happens, they're gonna spin it like something's wrong with the movie. Oh my god, they changed this thing 3 weeks before, and it's like, nope, that's normal. But you're gonna act like it's not normal to make it seem worse than it actually is. But like how it's like, oh my god, something got reshoots. That means it's gonna suck, even though that's just literally normal production. But I like to think that they're, getting to like maybe like 95%, 90 to 95% done. If I were to throw my hat in the ring,
I would say that's probably not far off the mark. By the way, they did talk about, hey man, imagine if you came across this dog with superpowers, you'd be fucked. That's literally James Gunn's words. So really emphasizing the importance of crypto. And then he talked a little more about Ozu, his own little, doggy who inspired crypto. And Rachel Brosnahan talked about like, hey man, you got to put me in training. I really got to learn how to talk and walk like a journalist for the role, to do the research. So it looks like she did the actual, groundwork for this. But then a couple of interesting pieces of, bits that I wanted to talk about, Liz. So the cast members were asked, if you wanted to play other DC characters, who would you play? And David Cornswell said Batman. And then he asked James Gunn, that would be fun to get to do at some point, James, if you're willing. As in, I'm guessing maybe a multiverse sort of a story would be possible. And then Nicholas Hoult joked, saying, well, I auditioned for Batman and Superman. And then he recalled Gunn, of course, first offering him the role of Lex Luthor, and then he thought to himself, shit, that's who I was supposed to be playing all along. So it looks like he's embraced that role. But also, in another quote, he said something really hilarious, which I thought was really worth mentioning. Let's see, where is it? It's like right here. He was also saying, as an icon, it's exciting to finally play an icon, said Nicholas Hoult. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on what David Cornswell said about potentially being Batman, and then Nicholas Hoult having now auditioned for both Batman and Superman, ultimately ending up with Lex Luthor, and quite frankly, embracing it, wholly. Do you get more excited about the movie hearing these thoughts from these guys?
No, it doesn't change my opinion one way or the other. I don't think there's a man on this planet who is going to say, no, I don't want to be Batman. No, I don't want to be Superman. Or quite frankly, no, I don't want to be Lex. Like, if y'all had the opportunity, you'd go for it. Because who doesn't
I can play Lex pretty easily, but
who doesn't, it would be a fun gig regardless. And so, yeah, anybody's going to jump with that opportunity. So no, it doesn't change my opinion one way or the other. I'm going to see the film. I'm going to enjoy the film. It's going to make a shit ton of money, and good for them.
Nice. Well, John, we have got a question from Manos Time saying, what do you think about some people basing this movie of a rumored, basing their opinions of this movie on a rumored leak that may be fake?
Fucking I don't know stupid.
That's we haven't quite come across those leaks, but Ron, we also want to see Nicholas Hoult's audition footage for both Batman and Superman. I feel like we will get that at some point. Remember they put out the Dark Knight footage a while ago, and there was like I know Cillian Murphy did it, and Christian Bale obviously did it. Then there was like one other actor who was such a bad fit. I just remember going, you guys need to find this on YouTube. They were like, there's OG audition tapes for the Dark Knight, and there's this one actor who completely misses the mark. And
Ian Bailey, I think his name is, or something like that.
I was like, what are you doing? Are you playing Sherlock fucking Holmes? Or are you playing Batman? And just that guy missed
it's just like, oh my god, I didn't do this. I swear to God, swear to me. Like, it's like he's
it was like, I was like, what?
Work. Like, he's not intimidating in the slightest.
I mean, clearly, Christopher Nolan wanted the complete opposite. Oh, swear to me. Like, he was all the way on the other end of that spectrum. But anyway, talking about more Superman, Gunn teased the idea of pocket universes, which is part of what he said. Like, look, initially when I got asked to do Superman, I was like, I don't know. It's like a really old-fashioned character. How do you make him relatable in the modern day? So he decided to do the Suicide Squad movie. But then the idea of having Krypto and Superman, of course, ultimately brought him back in, and he was writing the script for it back before he even got hired as the DC Studios head, which was actually part of the reason why he got hired, is because of the script for Superman. And he mentioned that pocket universes is also something that, really got him going. So I have a question for both of you guys. What the hell did James Gunn mean by pocket universes?
To me, it sounds like it's saying the multiverse without saying the multiverse. That's what it sounds like to me.
I mean, well, pocket universes are technically, they're kind of sort of different. So it's like, I mean, it's like a universe within a universe kind of thing. It's complicated. Again, it's just James Gunn complicating people for no reason. That's all I can really say. I don't know if I could really add more to that.
I wonder if pocket universes is his way of referencing Elseworlds, but I don't know why he didn't just say Elseworlds. It's just interesting to me that this is the way they talked about it. But yeah, hey, as part of the footage that they showed, as it says here, they showed the Fortress of Solitude rising, out of the Arctic, and then Superman gets dragged in because it was part of that whole They showed that whole sequence where Superman lands in the ice, and the automatons help take care of him, and they basically turn him into towards the direct sunlight for the healing process that needs to happen. David Cornswell talking about playing Superman. It's not a job. It's the one thing you want to be doing all the time. Now, here's a description of some of the footage that we got. I know we've kind of talked about it already, but you got the line "Crypto, take me home." And yeah, so we get a little more of that, Superman wheezing and then Crypto dragging him across the ice. So yeah, I can't wait to see more of that footage, guys. That looks very, very exciting. So with that, let's get into the super chat that we got from Just Some Geeky Guys. So you had asked us earlier, what are your box office projections for Superman? I predict, Just Some Geeky Guy predicts, it will make anywhere between 700 to 800 million. I mean, it will be Superman. I mean, it's Superman. It will be a big hit. So Just Some Geeky Guy betting that it will make somewhere in the neighborhood of what the Batman made. Now,
that sounds about
I want to
right.
ask for your predictions, and then John, if you have your trusty notebook nearby, maybe we can dive into some of what the other folks have said. Because remember, we did this before. Just Some Geeky Guy, we've got your number in there somewhere too. So let's take a count.
No, we don't.
But we don't. All right, well there you go. That's his number.
Add
now,
it to
and
the
John
list.
is making a note. Liz, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I agree. Listen, I would love for it to make a bill. I hope it makes a bill, but I agree with the 7 to 8. I think is a reasonable projection for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like we want to be proven wrong with this. We want it to make $2 billion, but
I mean, I genuinely believe worldwide it has the potential. I think we're underestimating the other countries, particularly China. I think it's gonna be it very well might hit a bill, and I hope it does. That'd be amazing.
Enterprising saying hell would be a pocket universe. Well, the Mirror Master has a pocket universe. John has the list and it has our names on it. Yes, it does. John, let's dive into some of those predictions. What else did people say? What else have people said in the past?
Here's what the people had to say. So I'm just gonna go in order from how I wrote them. So we have It's Mochi, who we don't really see that much of, but they said 745 million. Hugo Millie said 800 million. Angelica Kate, who we usually see a bunch of, 900 million. Fiona said 666 million, being a little fucking jokester, that one. Caleb, you said 689 million. Ron, I don't know if Ron is in the chat right now. I haven't really been paying attention to the chat. But he said 500 million. Antonio said 700 million. Enterprising said 780. Manos, I see you in the chat right now. You said $770 million. James M, who I don't think we see anymore, said 700 million. Thrawnkill, who I think we saw once maybe, said 800 million to 1 billion. Figure Drawing said 750 million, and then I said 768. Liz said 772. You had the second highest, actually the third second highest. Third high. Well, Thornkill had like a branch of it, but you said 825, and then Just Some Geeky Guy just said 700 to 800.
Did anybody say $1 billion? Wait, somebody said it, right?
Well, Ron said
I'm
it's not make. Well, no, Caleb, I have you a 689. You just made the list. So, if guys, you want to be added to the list, who's not on the list, then feel free. Like Super Blink, Kevin Davis, you guys aren't on the list. Feel free to set some predictions in the chat.
Please do.
Enterprise, I'm going through the chat now. Elite Eazy isn't on the list. Guys, come on, add some predictions there. Hunter Iggy showing up for. I'm just going through the chat because I haven't been paying. Hosea Morcana, come on, guys, throw some predictions our way. Let's do it.
What did Antonio say? I forgot what Antonio said.
Antonio said 700 million.
Okay. Wow. All right. Yeah, we're all kind of looking at that. I think that's a good range. That's a reasonable expectation. You know what is not a reasonable expectation? Speaking of the bulge, Marco. Yesterday we talked about this. There's new artwork of Superman, and this is in the thumbnail, but I think I managed to tuck it away. But they didn't manage to tuck it away in the actual art. Guys, can you tell me what you're noticing in this image that is popping out of place a little bit, as it were? I'll let you know. It's in the southern half of the image, and it's oddly peculiar that it's very noticeable. And I'm just wondering because Liz and I did the research. Liz mostly did the research, and then she
I
sent me
did
the
my
image.
research, gang.
And
Yeah.
this is an image of Christopher Reeve Superman in a similar pose. Of course, he's only got he doesn't have both of his arms pointing forward.
I mean, it was different times.
And I'm just like, it's tucked away. You can't really tell. Like, it's below the belt. Here, I don't even see the belt, but I do see something else. It's very noticeable. I mean, look, I understand with Christopher Reeves, like when you do a head-on look.
Caleb asking, "Why are you so
there.
weird?"
Is there? But I'm just like, I love because this is the thing. When I went through this, I made the thumbnail, and then Liz pointed out to me while we were doing the show that the bulge is right there. So I don't know. It's just did we really need to have that there?
I just happened to notice,
Yeah, of course you'd notice.
First of all, what is that? I'm not Dan. I'm not bulge centric all the time.
Ron is like, the bulge will never
There's
die.
the shot right there. Now I'll zoom into this. That
Okay, we don't need to see
right there
bulge, but
I'm just like, I don't know. Do we need that? Like, because it's sort of like, what function does it serve other than to highlight the fact that
Don't put
Superman's
this
got some
on me,
padding there,
John.
potentially to make this.
I mean,
movie a little.
I hate to break it to you, but every man on planet Earth has a dick and balls. Like, I don't know how. Okay, we're just gonna end it. I'm gonna end it perfectly. And I'm wearing the same shirt. I'm wearing my Guinness shirt, so
Yeah. By the way,
Dan looks at an image. Look at the ball.
Okay. All right. Going back to the predictions. Hunter Iggy was saying 750 million.
Face palming, shaking my head.
Bulge from Krypton. Nathan with like the underwear and the bone emojis. Thank you. It's the outstretched arm. Okay, unsurprising. That's not what I was pointing out to.
It does. The outstretched arm does look a little bit awkward, a little bit.
Figure drawing has an interesting theory. I think figure drawing's theory is worth talking about. He's saying that it's he's noticing, Krypton hiding in his trunks. That's interesting. That's an interesting one. But just some geeky guys saying, let's say hypothetically that Superman doesn't meet Warner Brothers box office expectations. Would that mean that they would overhaul the DCU as a result, or no? So do you think are they gonna go for broke with this?
I think they're doubling down on it because, they already have so many things in production right now. Because it's like Man of Steel came out, they didn't have set productions. It was like they had Man of Steel and then a possible Man of Steel 2 if that was profitable, and then when Man of Steel came out to reasonable box office projections, not what they were hoping, and then very poor critic reviews, they were like, okay, we got to change everything. But the fact that they're really doubling down on okay, Superman is going to come out. Supergirl is in production right now. Lanterns is in production right now. Maybe Sergeant Rock and Clayface will be in production soon. So I have a strong, and then maybe even Creature Commando season 2 is in production. Peacemaker season 2 is coming out as well. I keep forgetting about Peacemaker, but yes, all of that's coming out or going to come out. So it just feels like, I feel like they don't have the wiggle room to actually refocus stuff if they need to. Because I don't know, it's just like they have so much coming out. It's like, what are they going to have all this stuff come out, stop, grind everything to a halt, and then restructure everything? That just, I feel like they're really because WB said oh, we didn't really have anything in mind for failure. They did. They restructured shit. BVS was not what was envisioned from when, Man of Steel was. Because, Man of Steel was, like, not supposed to be the start of a cinematic universe, but the fact it made more money than Green Lantern, they were like, okay, guess we'll go with this now. But it was still not enough that they had to be like, okay, now we have to, have our grubby hands and everything, because they went for BVS. I don't know if Zack Snyder wanted to do BVS or not. I don't know. It's been like conflicting reports for years, but WB still kind of got their grubby mitts into everything post Man of Steel. Justice League was the most notable, but BVS was pretty notable considering they had a 3-hour cut that was liked, and then they ordered him to trim it down, and then it didn't make sense, and then everybody hated it. So
that 30
I
minutes
feel like there
felt
was
like
a
it
lot more
taken out way
meddling
too
there, and I
late.
feel like there's
Yeah.
there's more room to restructure stuff, even though it was kind of full steam ahead. It was, but it wasn't with the DCEU. Now it seems like it's really full steam ahead. Like,
they're
I feel
locked
like
in
they
on
really
this.
can't restructure anything, and they really got to go for it in the hopes that maybe something else will be profitable.
Yeah, it's a lot harder for them to do that now because they're, like you said, they're really locked in to all these choices. Like, because you can't just fire one director off a movie and change the whole direction of the cinematic universe anymore. Like, you can't do that what they did to Zack Snyder, and that's the only thing they would need to do. There's so many other things that they've got going now, like you said, with TV shows and movies. I feel like, yes, you can pivot, but you can't really like change. And you know what? Quite frankly, they should learn their lesson, because
They should, but they won't.
couldn't have. Yeah, they tried to change direction, but I'm like, how much could you change direction when the movie was already filmed and pretty much done? Ultimately, they ended up mostly refilming the whole thing, but still, it's like you said, I think they're kind of locked into this version of the universe now. By the way, I don't know if Manos Time, your friend, was at CinemaCon or not, but that's maybe they didn't like the footage that they saw. And you know what? Everything hits everyone differently. Warner Brothers did announce new animated Flintstones, Looney Tunes, and Tom and Jerry recently. So, there's other stuff out there for you guys to see if your Superman doesn't click with you. We'll talk about Coyote versus Acme later as well. So there's other stuff that's, well, not really comic book, but other Warner Brothers properties that are out there as well. Caleb saying also, John, should I watch the BVS director's cut? You asked about that in the comments. I will say the ultimate cut is better. It's a lot better.
It's better. It's not good, but it's better.
It doesn't transform the movie, but it does improve it. So I think if you're lacking for context and stories,
to me, Batman vs Superman is an enjoyable Frankenstein's monster of a movie. I enjoy it more than Man of Steel, which is not saying much, but like I still like. It's just like a car wreck where it's like you can't look away kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And then Zack Snyder's Justice League it's good. It doesn't need to be 4 fucking hours.
I think that movie, they could have trimmed a good 30 to 40 minutes off of it.
That
scene where Aquaman dives in the water and then they sing a hymn to him while, basically, what is it, making out with the sweater that he leaves behind. That was not needed. But like Figure Drawing was saying, Superman will not flop. I firmly believe that this movie would have to be so bad. It would have to be so freaking, it would have to be Morbius levels bad to flop.
That's
do
what
not
I'm saying,
think it's that bad.
There's
Liz.
no way.
No,
there's no way. There's no way.
It can't.
Well,
be
and again, just because people are just so curious, there's no way.
I see what you did there, Liz. I see what you did there. Sorry. Go ahead. What happened? Are you okay, John?
Yeah, I drank from my water bottle and I knocked over my duster. Which
that sounded a lot louder than a duster. But...
There we go.
But yes, like you said, Liz, people are at the very least curious about the movie, which itself will drive a lot of the fan base.
Yeah, for sure.
This is, by the way, very interesting. Warner Brothers announcing a bunch of new cartoons.
Well, and I think let's be honest too, we've been just oversaturated with Marvel projects that I think people are looking for the next major DC film. So again, they're going to go there just to kind of, if anything, to compare the two franchises. So I think it's great.
Yeah. Well, hey guys, that brings us to, I think the close of the Superman content. Yes, Super Blink in the chat giving us his predictions. He wants to see Superman make $1 billion. He's going high. We're gonna note that down. John has already got this noted down. Super Blink saying, like, for real, LOL, I woke up to the fight scenes that didn't care to start the movies over and over again. Yeah, I mean, those Zack Snyder movies were really, really long. And Kevin Davis saying the past DC Studios films have flopped at the box office beside the Batman.
Yeah.
Not every single one, but yes,
Nope.
in recent times, the majority of them have, and that's really what Superman is up against. So we'll just have to see how well it does. Now, what we have to do for now is move on and talk about all the other stuff at CinemaCon that happened earlier in the day, as well as what happened earlier, yesterday, basically, with Sony. So we're gonna start there. We're gonna start with Sony's presentation, guys. So let's dive into that, shall we? Oh god, Sony put out so much shit. So let's do it in quick hit style if we can. Oh my god, fucking god, these fucking ads. Get the I swear to God, guys, I do not know.
Are you getting more
why...
Stormtrooper booty pick ads?
No, but it's worse. It was worse than that. I need to get a new ad.
They were
blocker.
just tan leggings. It's fine. It was just tan.
Was
leggings.
it? That's not what it looked like to me. Anyway, okay.
I know. That's That's the point. That's why they share.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
Beatles. Liz, I know this is why you were here today. You were here
It
to
is
talk
why.
about Beatles.
That's right. Nothing else.
Literally.
This is why I'm here.
This is the biggest reason, because we're gonna talk about Iron Fist later, but this is the main reason why you're here. Beatles biopics were revealed yesterday by Sony, and I know Steven is here to for us to talk about all the Sony stuff. We're gonna get into Spider-Man later, but they started off by talking about a bunch of movies that they have coming out this year, next year, the year after. Speaking of which, the Beatles movies are set to come out, all 4 of them, in April of 2028. Sam Mendes is directing all 4 movies. They're saying it's a cinematic experience like none other. Tom Rothman, the studio head, said is going to be the first bingeable movie going experience. I don't know what the fuck that means, but basically,
I'm hoping they have movie times where you can literally, like a marathon, just watch all 4.
Wow,
That's what I'm expecting. Yeah,
I'm like, but then you can maybe only do 3 of those in a day, if that. Depending on how long these things are.
Not me,
hope these
baby.
aren't
I'll be there for
2.5 hours a piece.
Yeah. Well, I think they're gonna break it up, but they're also gonna be
all of you quitters. I can do all 4.
I'll be doing all 4.
I saw the.
Look who we're talking to.
I saw all 3. Hold on, you gotta.
I'll be doing all 4. Look at.
I gotta go solo for this, but I saw all 3 of the. Well, back when there were 3, all 3 of the Planet of the Apes movies in one showing. So
I did all 5 Die Hards in one sitting.
My dad did. Yeah. Back when the original Planet of the Apes were coming out, they did all 6 in one.
I did all 3 Guardians.
Or was it 5 or 6? But it was 5 or 6, all Planet of the Apes, all in one show.
Yeah.
Come on, as long as you get a break.
I've done 6 in a day. I've done 10 in a weekend. So no, I expect that they're going to do a marathon style showings, but they'll also have individual showings so people can kind of get to it piecemeal as well. I can't wait. I'm pumped for it. It's going to be wonderful.
By the way, I just wanted to point out that we did talk about the dynamic duo presentation. All they did, Super Blink, is they showed some of the puppet animation. They literally showed puppets on strings. And it wasn't much. And because the movie's not coming out till 2028, like the Beatles, I can't imagine much of the animation work is done. Maybe even some of the models aren't complete. So dynamic duo, it was part of the presentation at Warner Brothers today, but there wasn't a whole lot to talk about. If we get any footage from it or images, we'll definitely dive into those and bring those to you guys. But yeah, there wasn't a whole lot there from Dynamic Duo. They spent a lot more time on Superman, rightfully so. But going back to the Beatles, Liz, Paul Mescal is playing Paul McCartney. I'm like, that won't be confusing on set.
Great.
Then Harris Dickinson is playing John Lennon, which John might have something to say about that. Joseph Quinn, a new Human Torch, is playing George Harrison. Excellent. And then Barry Keoghan is Ringo Starr. And each of them will have their own movies. I wonder if after you see all 4 of the individual movies from the Fab 4, that they will then do a Fab 4 movie that will be like, the Beatles assemble. Are we going to get an Avengers?
George Martin just comes in at the end, you're part of a bigger universe. You just don't know it yet.
Yeah. No, like I said, I'm assuming if they do it marathon style, the final film in the grouping will kind of be a culmination, and they're gonna come together. So I'm expecting that to happen, but also you never know if they do as well as I'm predicting they will. They might do that. They might have a final, biopic with everybody on board. I mean, there's even though the Beatles were only together for 6. Oh, no. Oh, there we are. Even though the Beatles
You're
were actually
back.
only together for 6 years, there is a lot there. There's a big body of work, and then they all have their own individual story as well. And then, as we know, some of them have gone on to do other things since. So it might be a bigger production than even what we're getting right now. I'm for it. I was raised on the Beatles. We love the Beatles in my house. This is a big deal.
Yep.
I already asked my mom about it. She's like, "Oh, BBC has been talking about it all day long. That's all they can talk about." So this is going to be humongous. It's going to be great.
Yeah. No, I mean, John, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, you guys can't. Hold on. I'm gonna see if.
Uh-oh.
There it is.
presentation.
I have my Abbey Road poster right there. I'm a big Beatles. I had a poster with with 4 of them in like a black and white, like during their early days. But it's just look at the amount of fucking posters I have in my room. I have no room. I have no room in my room for more posters. So so unfortunately I couldn't put that. I think it's in my closet right now. But anybody wants a Beatle poster, hit me up on Cash App, give me like $10 and I'll send you a Beatles poster. But I'm super excited. I'm gonna tell my parents about this. They're gonna be excited. It's like crazy. So, I'm stoked. Like I'm curious how this will happen. It's definitely experimental because it's like I know everyone's sick of musical biopics because most of them are trash. They suck. The Bob Marley one sucked. The new Whitney Houston one sucked. Like fucking Bohemian Rhapsody sucked. Most of these are fucking terrible. And so to have like something at least kind of experimental, kind of interesting, then fuck it. Go for it. Like I think what would be really cool to have it like because I know Liz, I don't know if you said it now or only before when we were chatting before we started, but like what order would this be? And I wanted to like kind of double down on that. Like what order? No, fuck you. I'm a grown man. I could fucking not make my bed if I want to. But it what I would love to happen, like whatever order they decide on, obviously Ringo would have to be the last because he was technically the last member, but it would be really interesting if like it would be the lead up to like when the Beatles really became a thing. Like John is the first movie, and that takes place in like 1952 to 1954. And then the next one would be the Paul movie, and that would be 1955 to 1956. Like, and then have each movie be over a couple of years, which would build upon itself. Obviously, these guys would show up in later movies, and then we finally get a culmination of either a Beatles movie or it's just a lead up to when they finally form. That could be really interesting. Or have it be like each Beatle would represent like each era of the Beatles. Like one, like you have the Paul movie, and that would be like
that
the
would
pop
be really
era.
interesting.
Then you have the like post-pop era, like the John's movie, and then you have like the really experimental like fucking Yellow Submarine era with like the George movie, and then at the end when they were like on the cusp of breaking up, that would be the most interesting for the John movie.
Or even like I would imagine the John movie is probably going to be the last one. So if anything, it would probably be like his revolutionary era, his I don't know what you would say, his protesting era, his Yoko era, his solo album era, and then leading up to his ultimate death, unfortunately. So it's really going to be interesting how they do it, how they put it all together, and how they're going to release these films individually, or again, if they do a marathon style, which I would imagine they would. So we'll see. But I'm stoked for it. I think the casting is great for the most part. I'm curious about some of them, but I'm really looking forward to it. So this is going to be cool.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a really interesting experimental idea, and I'm all for it. And because it's like when you have something as big and as like fucking just that fucking huge when it comes to the Beatles, you got to do something like unique. I know there's been other like movies. I know Aaron Taylor Johnson did one like early on in his career. I know there's been like a couple TV movies, all that shit. So yeah, I think that's you got to do something big for these guys. I mean, it's the fucking Beatles.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I'm excited to see what this turns into. Like, the actors are fantastic. I don't know if every single one of them can carry their own movie, but I know like Paul Mescal can. He did Gladiator too, so like, you know, that would be something to witness. And my only concern would be like, is it, how can they pull this off? Like, how will they be able to, like, can each movie make money? Right? Like, it's and how much money, like how much are they going to spend? How long each movie is going to be? If you are going to make it a bingeable thing for people to see in a single day, you know, it's one thing to go see 2 movies back to back. It's another to see 4 of them. So not a lot of people have that kind of time. So we will definitely continue the conversation, guys, with what's going on with the Sony presentation, what happened with the Sony presentation. We'll continue to talk about the Beatles, everything else, Spider-Man, Into the Beyond the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man 4, I just hit my mic, and everything else that Sony announced yesterday. But right now, as Hunter Iggy brought to our attention in the chat below, we have to talk about some breaking news. This literally just came across our desk as we have been doing the show live, and it's come to our attention, and it's so incredibly unfortunate that Val Kilmer, the man that was Batman, of course, he was known for Top Gun, Iceman. I mean,
Jim Morrison.
So many iconic roles, an actor who struggled with so much in recent times. John's favorite Batman.
I don't know if he's my favorite, but he's up there.
He's
my favorite.
I mean, Batman Forever to me is still one of those underrated movies from the Batman mythos. But now Val Kilmer, as it says here in the Hollywood Reporter, he's passed away at the age of 65. Of course, like I mentioned, he was known for his role as Iceman in Top Gun, and then he returned in Top Gun Maverick. Honestly, every time I watch Top Gun Maverick, to me, the scene where Iceman and Maverick meet is probably the most emotional scene of the whole movie. Like, it's just, I tear up every time. And that was only one of many roles that he played, like we talked about Batman, but even beyond that, like I said, Jim Morrison in The Doors. Liz, I'll start with you. The shock of the news. Obviously he's had his struggles with health for many years, with cancer and stuff. So like, what are your thoughts on the legacy that Val Kilmer leaves behind, and just your reaction? I mean, it's breaking news as we are on the show.
I mean, it's only 65 too. It's a real shame. He passed away from pneumonia, according to his daughter. It's, you know, anytime you're dealing with serious health issues like he has been over the past number of years, the littlest thing can be your undoing, and unfortunately that's what sounds like happened here. His body just shut down. Willow, Tombstone. I mean, the man's legacy is just unbelievable. Real Genius, one of my first favorite films of all time. I mean, that's just, if you guys haven't seen Real Genius, fuck a duck, that movie is wonderful. So yeah, he will be sorely missed. I also hope you guys see his documentary. He also had a book out called I'm Your Huckleberry. He leaves behind quite a legacy, and he's just what a wonderful dear man. It's a real shame. It's really terrible. And this is not an April Fool's joke, unfortunately.
No, we wish it was.
Yeah.
I mean, people wouldn't, you know,
you wouldn't be seeing this across every news outlet. I mean, you know, like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, another fantastic project. Man of Steel Magnolia saying Val was great. Justin Geeky guy saying he wasn't bad at all as Batman. I really,
he was great as Batman. And anybody who says otherwise can fuck off.
Also, The Saint. I mean, I love The Saint. That's also one of my favorite films of his. You guys, if you want to talk about range in that one, holy shit. But I mean, we can go on and on. Pretty much anything he's ever touched has been phenomenal. So it's really a shame.
Yeah, Figure Drawing saying his very first movie, Top Secret. I mean, he came to fame really with
Top Secret, yeah.
Top
Oh
Gun,
god, a
but
Zaz
yeah.
movie. Those were classic. That not as well known as like Airplane or Naked Gun, but like, damn, I've seen bits and pieces of Top Secret. That's a god again, like prime Zaz, Zuckers, and Abraham. Like, God, those that was so fucking funny. Such a fucking ridiculous movie, but so good.
I mean, look, the details of his passing. It was pneumonia, according to his daughter
Yeah.
Mercedes Kilmer.
But I mean, he had cancer. He had.
Yeah. I mean, he recovered from throat cancer. I mean, he had been doing pretty well. He was diagnosed in 2014, and obviously we got to see him in Top Gun Maverick recently, and you could see that he was still obviously struggling with the effects of it. But yeah, I mean, for somebody whose health was so frail in recent times. I mean, John, I'll pass the baton to you. What did Val Kilmer mean to you as an actor, and somebody who I'm sure you have lots of memories of, having seen him pretty much your entire life on the big screen and the small screen?
Yeah.
And how do you best choose to remember him and the impact that he has left on the industry as a whole, especially like happening this week, CinemaCon? I gotta imagine they're probably gonna also do some sort of tribute for him at this point, considering.
Oh yeah.
Like all
I
of
mean,
Hollywood's best are gathered.
And
What
also,
are your thoughts, John?
They fucking did a typo. It's caped with a D, caped Crusader, not Cape Crusader.
Right.
Guys,
We can
come
imagine
on.
though.
Proofread that shit.
It's a breaking news article. I let that one go. But your thoughts on Val Kilmer, John?
I mean, him as Iceman, he was easily the best part. I don't care what anybody says. He was the best part of the original Top Gun. Oh, fuck Tom Cruise. Fuck Tom Cruise in that movie. He was a fucking prick in that goddamn movie. But Iceman, he was awesome. He was great. I mean, I know of Doc Holliday and in Tombstone. I own Tombstone. I still have yet to see it. I know. But he is one of my favorite Batman. I think he's probably the most comic accurate Batman we've gotten, at least in a comic booky world, and nailing both parts of the character. And Heat, oh god, Heat, him and Heat was fucking great. Him, fun fact, him reloading in that movie was so accurate with how it should be done in a live or death situation, that it's shown to army recruits and police recruits on how to reload when you're under fire. So that's really cool. But yeah, he's he's done a lot of great stuff. I need to see more of his movies, but he there he is with Catwoman. But it's just
Pfeiffer.
it's just sad to see. And but it's it was kind of coming. He had so many health problems towards the end. It's just sad to see. The great. I know he was infamously hard, very, very infamously hard to work with, but I think he kind of realized that at the end and kind of mellowed out. Unlike Chevy Chase, who's still a prick.
But I also think he just had a high standard. Whenever you hear that about actors, most of them it's just because they have a very high standard, with the exception of Chevy Chase. But I mean, and it showed on the screen. We got what we paid for with Val. Every single performance he ever was a part of, he put everything into, and he took extremely seriously. So I'm just bummed, man. What a shame.
Yeah, I mean, he was literally a leading man in every which way, right? We talk about nowadays. I mean, Caleb and Figure Drawing pointing out Tombstone, and you got Thunderheart, all these movies, The Island of Dr. Marua. There is a breadth of just hits upon hits upon hits, and he was, like you said, John, more of a leading man coming out of that movie than even maybe Tom Cruise was. I mean, Tom Cruise obviously took off and has had a legendary career to himself. But you gotta imagine. I mean, Val Kilmer. Oh,
Yeah.
God, we talk.
Iceman's
about
the one
Powell.
people remember. Yeah.
Yeah, we talk about like Glenn Powell kind of having that like what was his name in the new movie? He wasn't Iceman. He was something with play on
Rooster?
that. Not Rooster.
No.
No.
Hangman.
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 He was Hangman. He was basically the Iceman of the new movie. And we talk about like what that movie Top Gun Maverick has
be right
done
back.
for Glenn Powell's career. And yeah, I mean, yeah, go ahead, John. But like, it's also you look at the career of Val Kilmer. If it wasn't for the cancer, if it wasn't for all the health struggles in recent years, I don't know. I mean, just how much higher could his star have flown? He did so many different amazing projects, like even like Red Planet, some lesser known movies that you probably forgot about. But I'm at a loss for words. Like I'm really just at a loss for words for. It's hard to quantify the contribution that actors of his caliber make. It's you know gonna be just difficult like to see like now he's no longer there. Caleb pointing out that we have lost already David Lynch and Gene Hackman this year, and now Val Kilmer. Yeah, giants of the industry. Just some geeky guys saying he was phenomenal in Tombstone too.
Yeah.
And Caleb saying Doc Holliday is the GOAT. We're gonna miss Val Kilmer as I don't know, as all in our own ways. We will mourn the loss. Growing up for me, what was a touch point was the Batman Forever. Like I had all of the movies on VHS, and I would watch each one, and of course. In my head, I had kind of as a young kid, like kind of created these reasons for why they kept switching out the actors, and yet the stories seemed to like all be connected. And Batman Forever always had this like really just interesting, neon punk vibe to it that drew me in a way that
The Iceman cometh.
Yes. I mean, but his movie was the one with Jim Carrey's Riddler and Tommy Lee Jones Two-Face. I remember going to Six Flags and they had a Batman show where you would see Batman flying in on a rope or like a tightrope, and then you would have that version of the Batman suit, you would have that version of the Batmobile, or actually I don't know if they might have mixed in the Michael Keaton Batmobile, but then you would have Tommy Lee Jones' version of Two-Face and Jim Carrey's version of the Riddler, and it was like a live show, and that I still have that like taped on home video. So I fondly remember Val Kilmer from that time, and of course the Top Gun franchise. How closely I value that franchise as a whole. So yeah, it's going to be just just incredibly hard to like imagine a world where he's no longer with us. It was amazing to see him be a part of Top Gun Maverick, and for them to give Val Kilmer his due, and great on Tom Cruise, the filmmaker Joseph Kosinski, Jerry Bruckheimer, everybody involved with that movie. Ron saying he brought bat nipples before George Clooney did. That is true. The first Batman movie to feature bat nipples was indeed Val Kilmer. Like he could pull it off.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and he could still pull it off. I mean, it's just and it's like you said, Liz. It's hard. It's just a bummer of a piece of news to come across, especially in a week like CinemaCon where so much is going on, and all of Hollywood is gathered together in Las Vegas. So I hope we'll get sorry, I'm choking up now. I hope we'll get some sort of like tribute at some point this week. And for us on the channel, we'll do our best. I'll see if we can do one of those also memorable tributes to Val Kilmer, just remembering everything that he did. Catriona, who's our editor, is a big Batman fan, so I'm sure she would love to take that on. And we mourn the loss of one of the greats of the industry. Like John said, he was hard to work with at times, but he still left a mark, and we will remember him for everything that he had to bring and to contribute to the world of cinema and all the movies that we will carry on with us, into the great beyond. And we wish the very best, and our condolences go out to the family and friends of Val Kilmer. Now, with that, guys, we're gonna switch our focus back to talking about CinemaCon. So let's continue on with the Sony conversation. So if you need a moment, guys, you're welcome to step away and come back. But we're gonna get back into the Sony conversation. We were talking about the Beatles, And so we're gonna kind of like finish up that conversation. The movies will come out in April of 2028, so they are a little ways out. I mean, of course, they're working on 4 of them, and all 4 of them are being directed by Sam Mendes. So it makes sense that they will take that long. I mean, Adam, if it was, can you imagine if it was Matt Reeves? Like we might not get that Beatles event until 2032. But hey, Sam
2032,
Mendes,
more like 2072.
of Sam Mendes, like do your best. Harris
And
Dickinson
Caleb
as John Brennan.
asking, "Where's El Muerto?" Yeah.
Where's El Muerto? Dude, we're all wondering the same. We're all wondering the same. Enterprising saying rest in peace, Iceman. Yes. That was in his movie, but like still.
Caleb, I literally already made that joke. I literally was like, George Martin then comes in at the end of the first movie. You're part of a bigger universe. You just don't know it yet.
Okay, on that note, let's move on to the other stuff. There was so much. Okay, so the next big thing that Sony had talked about yesterday was Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. Now we have a title for the movie and a release date.
Well, we've already had the title.
Well,
it's already
Beyond the Spider-Verse. Well, there you go. I mean, I guess it's official now. But we got some details. We know that it's coming out in 2027, guys, not 2026, which is what they were slating it at. They're taking a page out
Actually,
of
it was
the book
supposed
of
to come
Matt
out
Reeves.
last year, but well,
Shit happens,
dude,
man. Shit happens.
Remember the last time they postponed it? It was indefinitely. So now
Yeah.
they've actually put a date on it again. So they've
Yeah.
confirmed that it's going to come out in 2027. That is June 4th, 2027. And it
Gang.
will see the return of the controversial Shamik Moore, and Haley Steinfeld will also return as
Keep
Gwen
them
Stacy.
in separate booths, please. Thank you very much. Or Josh Allen is going to have to suffer some fools.
They did put out some photos from the movie, so we got some new looks at the film. And also they're talking about it again. It's going to be a massive finale. It's going to pick up literally the moment where the previous movie left off. We're going to see more of the Prowler. And so Miles is
Hell
going to be
yeah.
fighting his alter ego, or like, his evil multiverse equivalent. Producer Phil Lord was there. He said this movie, picks up literally where the last one left off. And then you'll get to see Gwen Stacy and her new team of spider heroes going out to look for Miles, and they're gonna come face to face with the Prowler. You can see again some of the shots from the movie. So one of the reasons why they said that it's delayed by another year is because they're yet again breaking the boundaries with animation again, because they want to just get it right, and that's why they want the time. So kind of like what Zack Snyder said back in the day, he needed the extra year to get his vision, his ever broadening vision for Batman and Superman right. I suppose that's the same thing going on here. So there's a lot of detail here. Now, with that said, I want to start with Liz, because you're the big Marvel fan on the panel.
And I'm obsessed with the Spider-Verse. Obsessed.
So,
I love these films.
What are your thoughts about everything that they mentioned at this presentation? The fact that we're getting it a year beyond when we were originally expecting, not to mention it's at this point like 3 years past the OG release date, but it looks like they're doing it because they're trying even more. I don't know what other boundaries there are to break at this point in animation that they're supposedly doing, but what are your thoughts on Beyond the Spider-Verse coming out in June 2027?
Yeah, I don't know and I don't care. I'm just thrilled. I love these movies. The first one, I immediately went out and purchased the soundtrack literally the moment I left the theater. The second one I absolutely adored. I loved all the cameos, the guest stars, the extra actors that were thrown in there. Trying to figure out, like, trying to place everybody's voice. I love these films, so I'm for it. And if it takes a little longer to deliver some of the same quality cinema that we've received from the first 2 films, I don't give a shit. Take as long as you need. It's great. I'm just glad that it's happening. John,
I think it's fucking great. Like I already said this. It's great.
Yeah.
Good time. Fucking amazing.
Yeah. Woohoo!
Let's go.
Yay!
I know although it is funny. Like I mean he's kind of a friend, kind of not. I'm friends with him on Facebook, but I just whenever I like think of this movie, I always think of him because he like fucking despises Across the Spider-Verse with every fiber of
doesn't
his
even make
being.
sense. It's so good.
He's like, it's so bad, it's ruined the first movie for me, and now I hate both. And it's like, sweet baby Jesus, calm down. But yeah, this is great stuff. I hope outside of Shameik Moore being a prick. Let's
well,
can't win them all.
I had the chance to meet him at Comic-Con. I did not. So
good thing you didn't. Good thing you didn't. He might have been creepy. So it's
probably not to me. So it's all right.
whatever it is, but might as well not take that chance. But yeah. I'm excited for this movie. It looks awesome. Fuck yeah. Let's go. Let's fucking go.
I just hope that this is the last delay we talk about. Like, this has got to now come out in June 4th, 2027, because here's the thing. I've seen some of the behind the scenes and the kind of groundbreaking animation they're doing here with stuff like, certain elements in the scene they'll be animated on 2s and other elements will be animated on 4s or 8s or stuff, which is basically meaning like there's a keyframe every other frame or every 4th frame, so you don't see movement, kind of like what you see in some anime and stuff, or like traditional 2D animation, so it feels more like you're watching something that's like comic book come to life. But that level of granular detail doesn't matter if your movie is delayed by 4 or 5 years. They've almost killed the buzz for this thing 3 times over. I just hope that now, next year, they're showing us like a teaser, a clip, or something, because I do not want this to be delayed any further. The same as the Batman Part 2. Like, just give it to us now. Like, okay, you put another date on it. Let's stick to it, right? Phil Lord was out there talking about this. Let's stick to the date, because people will forget about this to a certain point. Because remember, between now and 2027, we're getting 2 Avengers movies, we're getting a Superman movie, we're getting a Lantern show, we're getting a Supergirl film. There's so much superhero stuff coming out. Yes, people won't forget about the Spider-Verse, but it's just, the impact of it starts to lessen. And the first movie did really well. The second one did even better at the box office. The longer you hold on to the third one, the less of a chance that the third movie has to make any kind of money. So I really hope they don't hold on to it for too long. Now, speaking of holding on to it for too long, Karate Kid's Legends. I don't know if this is a movie that they've held on doing for too long, because Ralph Macchio's coming back. I mean, he's looking pretty good coming off the Cobra Kai show. Ben Wang is the one that, who's the new introduction. But then, I mean, dude, Jackie Chan looks old in this film. Like, Jackie Chan looks old.
Because he is fucking old. That's what happens. It's life.
I mean, they showed us more footage at CinemaCon. It looks as good as ever. Do you guys remember when the trailer came out? I don't know, Liz, if you were on that show or not, but John and I were freaking out over the quality of the action, especially the cinematography. It looked better than some of the stuff they showed in the last Matrix movie.
I'm so all in for this. I cannot freaking wait.
Yeah.
I mean, are you excited? Because remember when they first announced the idea that they were going to bring the 2 movie universes together in a way?
Yeah, but it
people were like, is this some kind of gimmick? But then the trailer comes out and people are like,
and this one cemented it, because they're utilizing, because everyone made fun of the fact that the remake was called The Karate Kid, yet it was about kung fu, because all kung fu is karate, but not all karate is kung fu, and it doesn't work. So I like how they're addressing that, and they're being like, you know what? I teach him kung fu, you teach him karate. Boom. I like how they're utilizing that, how they're like showcasing that fact. So he is still a karate kid, as Ralph Macchio loves to say, said in the trailer, let's make a karate kid. He said the thing, boom, roll credits. But I like, if it's like, guys, you already had me. You didn't have to fucking go this much harder for the next trailer. Like, you had me. You had me. You had my money. You had it tenfold. You didn't have to fucking put it further. But here we are. But I like Cobra Kai ended beautifully, even though the last season was a little bit up and down in terms of quality. It clinched the ending, so I think that makes it so much better for me personally. But even then, I like how, because I mean, the whole basis of like Cobra Kai was all about Johnny Lawrence and Cobra Kai and Miguel and all that stuff. But now this is like it feels like it's mainly going to be about Daniel's story, like the real return of you know, Daniel-san, like, because he was a major character in Cobra Kai, yes, but he felt more supporting to Johnny Lawrence. So this feels like, yes, we have the stuff with Mr. Han and Lee, but it also feels like now we're, shedding a light on Daniel even more so. And I really like that, continuing that story. And considering that the remake took place in another country with different characters, with a different martial art, with different, names for the characters, it makes sense that, like, yeah, why wouldn't it be in the same universe? Like, it's not like the remake was about a kid named Daniel going from New Jersey to the Valley being taught by a guy named Miyagi, but it's in present day. It's about a kid named Dre who goes to fucking China from the US, meets a guy named Mr. Han. Yeah, there are some similar things, like, oh, family's dead, he stopped teaching, but he's great and unassuming. Yeah, but like, it can work. There have been stranger things that have happened in real life that can be weird, but yeah. Next gen Rumble in the Bronx. Yeah. But but yeah, like, I'm loving this trailer. Like, this was great. So I can't wait to see this kid, because I know I've heard he was good in that show. I think it was called American Chinese. But I like,
that was an underrated show.
Like, if you're good, then you're good, and I want to see more of you, then by all means. It's like this. It's the same thing we usually see in every Karate Kid movie. It's like, kid gets bullied, needs to go to tournament. How do we get there? Like, but you know what? It works. We love it. We love an underdog story, and the way they're doing it seems like kind of ingenious. Like, they're combining the different martial artists. They're, bringing these characters together. So it's like they're still doing stuff that's like kind of unseen before. So it works. And I was already excited before, but now I'm even more excited. So let's go.
Yep.
I mean, Liz, can you add anything to that?
No, I'm just, again, I've said it all. I'm beyond excited for it. The trailer looks sick as shit, and I can't wait. And I'm excited to see Ralph Macchio like really get into the thick of it too, because I mean, I know, you see a little bit here and there with Cobra Kai and stuff, but like, the man does have martial arts skills, and I think people tend to forget that. So this is going to be really awesome. I'm all about it.
Yeah, I cannot wait. I also like the fact that a movie franchise that wasn't based around the idea of saving the world can still be a blockbuster somehow in 2025. You don't see that very often. Like, again, this is about like a karate tournament. It seems like the movie is based around this. I think it's the boroughs of New York or something, if I read it correctly. So I'm like, you know what? If that movie can make money, then yeah. I mean, what's wrong with you, Snow White? You could have made money too. Well, I guess, it's well made. That's why this is making money. So I cannot wait for that movie. Karate Kid might be my my black, like my dark horse. I was gonna say black horse. I was like, what? My dark horse pick of blockbuster of the year. Now, Sony did bring Darren Aronofsky out, John. They brought him all the way to Vegas to debut the trailer for the Austin Butler starring Caught Stealing. Are you a fan of Darren Aronofsky? I
No.
asked that knowing that you're not, but it's coming out August 29th. It's going to star Austin Butler as Hank Thompson, who's a down-on-his-luck former baseball player who suddenly finds himself immersed in the New York City crime underworld in the 90s. Liz, does this interest you at all?
Yeah. I love Austin Butler. I'm okay with Darren Aronofsky. I like some of his films. I could take or leave some of his other projects, but he had a hit with The Whale, so hopefully, we'll see what happens. And again, me, I look forward to the day when Austin Butler uses his real speaking voice, because I still don't think I've ever actually heard it. But again, whether or not that, I mean, who knows? Who knows? In this one, we could be duped as well. So
could be.
Maybe he's just going to keep playing guys with very distinct accents, and that's just our lot in life. But I'll see it. It sounds good. I enjoy Austin's work. He's a good actor, and like I said, Darren's kind of hit or miss for me. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a situation where his recent record has been pretty spotty, like Darren Aronofsky. So was it Mother? Wasn't that a Darren Aronofsky
Mother is
movie?
the absolute fucking worst on the face of the planet.
And
I'm
then what
so
was it?
sad that I saw that.
What was
Yeah.
the Joaquin Phoenix movie with Bo? I forgot what was it.
Bo was Afraid.
Bo
Also,
was-
one of the biggest pieces of shit on the face of the planet. Don't go see that. I mean, the
I am
production
afraid
value
of
was wonderful,
watching
but
Bo is Afraid. I
oh,
couldn't
God,
sit through, like, we did a review for that on this show, and like Mags was talking about it, and I was like, Mags, like, it felt like doing work, just moderating
that's what
that
it felt
whole
like.
review.
yeah.
So
Bo and
anyway.
Mother are both total misses for me. But again, The Whale is I don't, it's hard to say you enjoy it. The Whale, White Boy Rick, Jackie, The Wrestler. He does have some decent ones under his belt. So, I can't completely
I know
rule the guy out,
Darren
but
Aronofsky can be a good director. It's just like Mother was just
well, and I think he
like,
likes to pick
fuck
like the
that movie.
artsy projects to like kind of show off
Thank
it.
you, Caleb.
There's definitely some ego a part of it and
Mother,
play
I
here.
would like to say
Yeah.
it's not the worst horror film I've ever seen, but Mother is my least favorite. It still remains the
That's
movie,
considered
the
a
horror
horror
movie
film?
I
don't
fucking hate
I don't
the most.
understand how we classify these fucking films anymore, gang. I really I don't get it. I mean, yes, it was a horror to watch for sure, but I don't know that I personally wouldn't classify it as a horror. It's just
They
it just
literally
belongs
rip
to the
apart a
jump.
baby in the
That's
fucking
very
movie. You don't call
Body of
that horror?
Body of Christ, John.
Okay.
But
Yeah, it's still horror though.
because again, he has to show off his creative genius or whatever the
Oh,
shit.
look
I
how
don't know.
genius I am, and we're ripping
Yeah.
apart a baby for no fucking
Yeah.
reason. Aren't I fucking genius? Do you get it?
I know.
By the way,
I know.
okay, so Caleb correcting us that Ari Aster did Bo is Afraid.
Yeah,
but
no, Ari
Okay.
Aster did do
Okay.
Bo is Afraid. Yeah.
Yeah, but Darren Aronofsky did The Whale, which The Whale
Yeah.
had Oscar consideration, so I suppose there's he's still got a few good hits in him. The Wrestler.
I was wondering why we were
So-
talking about Bo is Afraid. I'm like, Darren Aronofsky didn't do that, but maybe I missed like a
No,
like
I
a
think it was
synapse
my bad.
misfired.
It was my bad. I think I misremembered. So that's
Yeah,
on
no,
me.
Well, because
Ari
you
Aster-
just
Ari-
put two shitty films in the same box, and
like both
we're all
pretentious
traumatized.
I mean, Ari Aster and Darren Aronofsky are kind of in the same bubble in terms of pretentious fucking filmmakers that they've made some good movies, but also like fucking garbage shit. So like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of movies, Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell. I don't know if I want to read this in an Australian accent or an Irish one.
Please don't.
An Irish.
I could read it in an Irish one for you.
Go
if
ahead,
you'd
Liz.
like.
Go ahead. You can read it if you like.
No, it's gonna look at John's already disgusted. Fine, to hell with you, John. Forget it then. I won't do it.
No.
I won't be
Like
bothered.
straight up, my fucking eye has been like fucking like wiggling like this past like 30 minutes. It's like twitching, and I'm like, stop fucking twitching.
This was gonna go 5 hours. I warned everyone from Jump Street, so strap in, gang. But no, Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell are gonna go big on a bold, beautiful journey and a trailer debut at CinemaCon. Oh, aren't we excited? Can't wait for it personally.
I am so excited. Finally, I'll get to see Colin Farrell not in the penguin costume. And Margot Robbie. I mean, this is a
But
killer
also,
combo.
like, is Colin Farrell he's just decided he's gonna do everything? Like, how many projects has this
Seems
guy
like it.
been attaching himself to these days? Like, apparently,
I mean, this one's done.
Yeah.
So I guess
Good for
I
him.
mean, because he's got a TV show on the way, he's got another movie, and then he potentially is gonna sign on to be Sergeant Rock, not confirmed, but he was talking to DC Studios about that. Yeah, I mean, they showed a trailer for this. This is coming from the Columbia Pictures label for Sony. It was our first look at the movie, and the director was saying he was inspired to make the movie because it's the kind of film that I want to watch in a packed theater. He used a string of adjectives to describe it, of course, like things like original, surprising, romantic, I hope, moving. Having not seen the trailer myself, all I can say is the cast is fantastic. I would love to see the trailer. A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey sounds like a movie that will potentially either be a really good movie.
The concept is really
makes
interesting.
no money.
It's very creative.
I mean, like, tell us a little bit more about what this movie actually is, Liz. If you've read the description.
I mean, I read bits and pieces, but it's kind of like it's kind of set up like a meet cute. And
but isn't it across time? Like, it's like a time.
I don't maybe like they meet and then somehow they come together again, and it has something to do with their car's GPS. The AI says, hey, why don't you get in and I'll take you on a big, bold, beautiful journey. So they kind of just agree to go wherever the road takes them. But it just, it sounds kind of cute, and it sounds like an interesting story, and I like the two of them. I like seeing the two of them together, so let's do it. Why not? And who knows if Colin is going to be Irish or American or what? We don't know.
Well, we know he can pull off an American accent, so
He surely can.
I mean, as can Margot Robbie, but like we'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully, this trailer is one of those that we get to see in front of a movie soon or on YouTube. I mean, I can't wait.
Yeah,
when you've got the star power, this is a movie that I hope it turns out to be something that is appealing to a broad audience, because that's ultimately what it's all about, right? Another movie that's not a big IP film, you gotta wonder if it's gonna find its audience in a time when people don't really go out to watch movies because of a certain star that's in there. But when you look at who are the stars of today, Margot Robbie might qualify as just one of the very few. So maybe she'll be able to bring in an audience along with her. So, not to mention Colin Farrell and his ridiculous amount of awards that he got for The Penguin. So, I know what you did last summer, John. You were on DCU Daily, but apparently the crew, including Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt, they were filming this movie, and they showed us a bit of a teaser, like a footage of some footage from the movie. From what I've read, it looks like they showed one of the new actors, like she's sitting in a bathtub. She's like, like what? Basically, just I think her boyfriend just got killed, and she's like, "Do you think this is about like something that we did or something?" And then basically the camera shows the OG cast, and they're like, "What did you do last summer?" Like they dropped the ball, the mic, and they're like, "Okay."
So fucking cringy.
I just hope it means that Freddie Prinze will finally appear at a fucking Comic-Con, because he cancels every single fucking appearance he ever signs on for, and it's been the bane of my existence for a decade now, Freddie Prinze. But I liked these movies. I mean, they were peak, what would we say, millennial, peak 2000s cinema. So I'm here for it. We're gonna get Scream 25, so why not? I Know What You Did Last Summer 3. Go for it. Go ahead, guys, cash in.
I'm just glad they're bringing the OG cast back, because I'm like,
yeah.
Literally,
it seems like they're Scream 5ing I Know What You Did Last Summer, which is that's the thing now. They I mean, it's kind of like what happened with fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022, which, by the way, is the worst horror film I've ever seen, by the way. They tried to Halloween Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it didn't work. Now it seems like they're trying to Scream 5 I Know What You Did Last Summer, and I mean, it'll probably be enjoyable. It'll get the nostalgia bait. It'll get all the 90s kids, like, hooping and hollering. So, like, maybe that's something. I wish what they could have done with this is adapt the original book, because like the original book was not like a horror, like serial killer thing. It was more like a whodunit thriller, and it was like, I want to read the book. It sounds way more interesting. And the author infamously hated the adaptation because of personal thing, like her daughter got killed by someone and it was never solved, so she had like a thing against like turning her book into like more of a serial killer slasher movie, and she never liked that. So she always hated the adaptation. So it would have been interesting to see, like, instead of just like, oh, we're just going back to the original movie, we're bringing back Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt, cool, great. I would have liked to see like a proper remake, like to see, like, readapt, essentially do what John Carpenter did with The Thing, readapt the book and get something good out of it. But here we are. That doesn't sell tickets. So here we are getting the same thing again with the same title, even though it's not a remake, it's a requel. So
it's a sequel. Okay,
it's a
reboot sequel. Okay,
reboot sequel.
Right. Jennifer Love Hewitt would ask, I have one question. What did you do last summer? And boom, like the trailer ends. It's like, okay. I mean, like, as somebody who remembers those movies somewhat fondly, I would be like, okay, You got me on that. I'll give it at least one watch. I mean, we'll see if it's actually any good. But yeah, it's not like those original movies were meant to be like Oscar-worthy things. So yeah, the
Yeah,
nostalgia
but
will
they can
sell.
still
What do you
suck.
mean? What do you mean? It's peak
What are you
cinema.
showing
Come
me? What are you
on.
showing me?
Peak cinema. Come
Mix
on,
the
guys.
flavors.
Caleb is like requels are becoming worse than sequels and reboots.
Yeah.
Enterprising saying though, I'd rather a sequel to the Heartbreakers.
Aw, you
LOL.
guys are
Well,
no fun.
I mean, Liz, I think you and I will go see it and enjoy it, but we'll have to just see if it's actually any good. But hey, I hope that teaser
I don't
that they
care
put
if
out
it's good. That's not what we're going to see
comes to a
this
movie
for.
theater
Come
near
on
us pretty
now.
soon.
Even if
Yeah.
it's trash, we're going to enjoy ourselves. That's
Yeah.
all right.
They'll show the world that this should have gone straight to streaming at the very best.
Hey, it still might. You never know.
Moving on to the next project from Sony, 28 days later, and they brought that out, and they brought it out in full force because not only did Danny Boyle come out to talk about 28 years later, and he's like, dude, I still love, doing big things and blowing up shit and blah blah blah, but then they also brought out Nia DaCosta. Liz, we talked about this yesterday. That there's another 28 years later movie on the horizon. They've already pretty much been working on it, and I guess
I know.
they've
I'm not
already
happy
finished
about
filming.
it. I think it's dumb.
It's called 28 Days Later, The Bone Temple. And
No.
so,
No.
I mean, Danny Boyle did say they don't quite have the financing to finish the trilogy yet, but I guess that means the
Which is
Bone Temple
wild.
counts as a bit of a spin-off. But yeah, I mean, dude, Danny Boyle saying like, I still love an apocalypse, British style. I still love the infected, and I still love blowing shit up. You've got, of course, Ray Fiennes in this, and he said that you're gonna see him unlike you've ever seen him before. So I don't know what that means, quite frankly. And then Nia DaCosta was like, "Hey, I was able to let my freak flag fly with what she was able to do with 28 days, the Bone Temple. 28 days later, no, 28 years later, the Bone Temple. Sorry, titles are along the way. But what are your thoughts on not just one,
No.
but we're getting two 28 years later movies?
No,
like, I
there
think
needs to
back-to-back
be
years.
like a 20-year gap between every production as God intended. I'm not happy about it. Pump the brakes. Calm yourselves.
I don't know.
No.
I think a trilogy is a bit much, but like I'm still if the fucking trailer for 28 years later
I mean, that's
is
fair.
anything to go by, which is like one of
Yeah.
the best trailers I've ever seen, period.
Yeah.
It's
I agree with you on that.
I'm cool with it. Like Nia DaCosta, she needs some goddamn, she needs a little bit more after doing the fucking Marvels and the god awful Candyman movie. So she needs something. Like I know her first movie was really good, so I hope she gets something with this, and I think they're doing, I think they're pulling a sequel trilogy like with Disney, where it's like they have the first director, they get a different director, and then they're doing the same director. So I think Danny Boyle is doing 1 and 3, but then Nia DaCosta is doing the second one. I don't know why they're doing that. Why not just get a different director for all 3? But whatever. Or just do all 3 of them. I don't know why 1 and 3. I don't know, but it could be a really interesting idea. I mean, it's got such a stacked cast, and Danny Boyle is great, and Alex Garland is great. So
and Ray Fiennes doesn't sign on for shit projects. So in that regard,
well, unless it's the English
we're gonna
patient,
get
but that's
something
beside
good.
the
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, they're probably gonna have a cult be the main villains of the 28 years later film. That was just some geeky guy. I don't know. Maybe there could be. It certainly seems like the Bone Temple is meant to be more of a spin-off, and then the proper sequel to 28 years later, they're still gonna need some more money to make because the financing is not quite there yet, according to Danny Boyle at least. But hey, it had a big presence. The trailer was fantastic. I think they gave us a few more pieces of footage, so hopefully we'll get to see that new trailer out in the public maybe YouTube or in a movie screening. So I'm sure that will be fantastic. These are some of the posters that Sony put out there during the presentation. A couple of the movies we haven't discussed yet: Until Dawn, which looks like another horror movie. It's coming from the producers of, I guess, from the director of Lights Out and Annabelle. Okay, all right. And then you have Goat, which is being executive produced by Stephen Curry. It's an animated movie about a goat that wants to make it big as a basketball player in the Animal Basketball League. So that looked interesting. Steph Curry had a video message about it. Tom Rothman's presentation, mixed
Gross, Tom
opinions on
Rothman.
that. Speaking of Tom Rothman, though, yeah,
Gross.
he
I love
he of
John.
course was the one who
Gross.
brought out
Gross.
Sam Mendes and the Beatles, and so that was something. Interesting stuff. Sony had a very interesting presentation, but the big thing at the Sony presentation, guys, that we do have to really talk about, and then I'll bring in just some geeky guys super chat from earlier. Tom Holland revealed that Spider-Man 4 is called Brand New Day, and then the director, Destin Daniel Cretton, he was at the presentation. He talked about how it's an honor to be standing on this stage. It's a pretty big understatement for him. He has been, a lifelong fan of the character of Spider-Man, and then he's always been drawn to Peter Parker's humor and messy humanity. So having come off the success of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, he was originally going to be working on, I think, one of the Avengers movies, but then the Russo brothers came back. So Marvel was like, go work on the next Spider-Man movie, which, hey, that might feel like a downgrade, but let's be quite honest. Spider-Man plays in the same sandbox now, box office wise, as the Avengers do. The last Spider-Man movie made $1.8 billion. So, what are your thoughts, guys, on the fact that Destin Daniel Cretton is directing this movie, which isn't news but in and of itself, but then what are your thoughts on just overall the title? I guess, the title reveal was a big thing. They didn't have any footage. We know they're not going to start filming till later this year. Spider-Man Brand New Day. Are you sold on that title? What does that tell you anything about the story?
I mean, it tracks. It makes sense with the rest of the film titles. You know me, I love these movies. I know John's not going to see it. John doesn't care for them, but I'm all in. But that title,
When did I say that?
You always say you don't like them.
Hey,
first of all,
it proves that you don't listen to me. I said I don't watch Marvel movies with the exception Spider-Man. Spider-Man is always the exception.
But you don't like the Tom Holland ones, you say?
I liked No Way Home, and I liked the promise they have of like we're finally getting like your friendly neighborhoods, like no multiversal fucking, I was Iron Man's former like roommate's brother who said my invention was poopy, like fucking shit. No, we're getting his own villains.
You talk about Jake Gyllenhaal like that.
I mean, okay, here's the thing. Far From Home, I like it a little bit more than Homecoming, only because of Jake Gyllenhaal, but Jake Gyllenhaal was still fucking wasted in that goddamn movie.
That's fair.
But Brand New Day, I mean, considering that they kind of folded in the idea of One More Day where they make a deal with somebody and something bad happens. Although in One More Day, it was terrible, and fuck One More Day, the worst Spider-Man story ever created. But here it's like he's, been forgotten. So it makes sense. Like Brand New Day was kind of the post. He does have an apartment. We did see that at the end of the third movie. So it makes sense that like after that whole thing, that Brand New Day, which was the comic book run that succeeded One More Day, would be that.
We don't have that kind of time.
What can the MCU do to restore your faith in them? Erase Thor Love and Thunder from existence, and then I will come back.
Actually, that's not that big of an ask.
Like scrub it from the minds of people. Make it a federal law that if you talk about it, you'll get killed by firing squad.
All right, we're getting
scrub it from the record.
The ask is getting bigger.
Scrub it from the timeline. Scrub it from the internet. I know Disney's powerful enough; they can do it.
Yeah.
Like, do that, and then fuck you, Caleb. Just do that, and I'll come back.
Gang, we're only halfway through the show. I just want to make everybody aware of that. We're only halfway, so
yeah.
Don't ask filibustery questions.
Whoa, living on a prayer. Living on fucking caffeine, like it's 1 in the morning.
I'm just saying, y'all need to know what you're in store for here. We're only halfway through. But okay, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The title does make me think of the Sting song from the early 2000s, but that's fine. That was a bop for me, so it's fine by me as well. So hooray. New Spider-Man. Tom Holland still making checks. Good for you,
Yeah,
Tom.
Spider-Man is my weakness. I will always go see a Spider-Man thingy.
You think we're gonna
What
get Benedict Cumberbatch back
Hopefully
in?
not. Hopefully not.
Do you mean to say Benedict Cumberbatch? No.
That Benaloop cucumber sandwich.
Yeah. You know, I saw a meme the other day, which I'm like, I don't know why I didn't make.
We're
this
only
connection
halfway through the
sooner.
show, gang. We're only halfway through
By
the
the-
show.
I just want to say I didn't realize the connection that when they had Tony Stark and Doctor Strange in Avengers Infinity War, that one of them didn't have a Sherlock Holmes pun. That's
And now everyone's doing beneficial cucumber snatch, Bendicum boombuck.
Poor man.
Although just some geeky, I dropped
British
another
name on the face
comment.
of the planet.
Bro, where are you getting this money from? But I mean, I agree.
You have no idea.
I
I'm not mad about
agree.
it.
I thank God every day that we're finally getting another Spider-Man movie where he isn't crying over Senpai Stark. Praise the living tribunal. I can't help but agree. You know.
Come on now. He's gonna show up in the multiverse.
And I also appreciate, by the way, the second comment, the Daily Kryptonian showing love for Marvel, because guys, it can happen. You can love both things.
That's right.
Be a DC fan and like a Marvel thing. Be a Marvel fan like the DC thing.
Again,
just give peace a chance. Speaking of Beatles, give peace a chance. Although that wasn't a Beatles song, that was just a John Lennon song, but that's
we're only halfway through the show, gang. We're only
all right. If you have a problem, you can fucking leave. The door is right there. Like, you don't have to stay.
I said it was gonna be 5 hours. I'm making people aware.
All right. Well, hey, Spider-Man Brand New Day starts filming later this year. It's gonna come out July 31st, 2026. It supposedly takes place around the same time as the events of Avengers Doomsday, which is why, as of right now at least, we know that Tom Holland is not going to be in Avengers Doomsday, but who knows, maybe that will change.
Yes, he will.
He will probably be in Secret Wars, but it comes out squarely between Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, so that will be the MCU movie in between. Brand New Day. We'll just have to see where they go. It looks like they've got more blue in the logo, so maybe that's, you know, in line.
Number
with
5 is going to be
suit.
Spider-Man for Good. That's what we're going to get.
I can't wait for that. Spider-Man for Good. That does sound like a charity. Okay. Moving on. Okay. So earlier today, or I guess yesterday, well, it's 1 a.m. now in the East Coast. So before Lionsgate's presentation, we had a Neon presentation, guys. And they talked about 2 movies, The Life of Chuck, which debuted some new footage. And of course, Mike Flanagan is directing this one for Stephen King. It's
Mark
got Tom
Hamill's in it.
Hiddleston. Mark Hamill is playing a villain. I mean, John, you were waving your arms in the air. What do you think about this movie? More footage came out. We're gonna hopefully get this thing soon. Neon usually doesn't present at CinemaCon, so this was a treat. What do you think?
Fucking perfection. That's all I gotta say. Mike Flanagan can do no wrong. Let's do it. Apparently, from the people that saw it at TIFF, they were like, this is an incredibly moving and great film. Another banger from Mike Flanagan, who previously worked with Mark Hamill on Fall of the House of Usher, by the way, where he played a villain there. So that was awesome. So fuck it. Let's go. I mean, he's got so many fucking people in this movie, and it seems like Mike Flanagan is branching a bit out. Like, he mostly does horror films, which I'm not complaining. But he kind of branched out with Midnight Club, because that was more like a Goosebumps kind of thing, but it was like not as like super horror. Fall of the House of Usher had horror elements, but it was kind of more like a supernatural drama, but it was still, both were still horror. So those kind of don't really count. This feels like a very like a epic drama is the vibe I'm getting from this, is sort of like it's about the life of Chuck. Yes, Hush was great. Hush was fantastic. John Gallagher Jr., who knew who he had it in him? Goddamn. Exactly. Like the man who was like, okay, there's a sequel there's a book sequel to The Shining. I'm gonna make that fucking sequel. And they're like, you can't do that because Kubrick. And he's like, well, fuck you. I'm gonna make it anyway. And then made a movie that was way fucking better than the original movie. So Mike Flanagan is the GOAT. He's one of the many goats, but he is one of the many goats of horror. I would say up there with Eggers and Perkins, my 3 favorite filmmakers working today. So fuck it. Let's go. I'm ready. Got Jacob Tremblay. Love Jacob Tremblay. Love this fucking kid. He is fucking exceptional. So,
He is exceptional.
I mean, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Karen Gillan, as you said, Mark Hamill, like just so many amazing people.
It's a killer cast.
Yeah, great stuff.
And Mark has wonderful things to say about it. He is just glowing over this film. He's so proud of it. He's so happy to be a part of it. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait for this movie. It looks exciting. It looks very interesting. Tom Hiddleston, and anything but Loki, he always delivers. Especially, well, Loki, he always delivers. But I mean, Tom Hiddleston in anything, I'll take it. So, yeah, and Mike Flanagan's got that Clayface movie he wrote too. So I mean, he's a busy man these days. But that wasn't the only movie. Neon did bring us more footage and basically showed us again the trailer for Together. This trailer actually exists out in the real world because this came out a bit earlier last month, so you guys can go watch it. But they did give us some more footage. Dave Franco and Alison Brie, real life couple, they get put to the test by a mysterious unnatural force, and the trailer was all kinds of scary. You had some incredible shots, like lifting a blanket, and oh god, it's yeah. I got the description for some of this stuff, and I've seen the trailer that they did put out earlier last month. This looks very creepy. This body horror is not what I do, and I will not be watching this movie myself. But it comes out August 1st, John. What are your thoughts on this?
I mean, body horror. Let's have this shit come back. I mean, The Shrouds is from David Cronenberg is coming out this year. I finally saw the trailer for that in front of Black Bag, and I was like, the audio sounded a little bit weird. I don't know if it was just my theater, but the audio was like very quiet for some reason. But even that, Vincent Cassel is such a great actor. Like, I would say like 10 years ago, that dude could have played a really good Joker. But like, I'm super excited for that. The Substance was great. This looks great. Like, let's have body horror come back. And let's not just be, it's like, oh, only David Cronenberg can do body horror. No, let's have all these great like minds just like really go in on these like weird ideas, and just like the idea of like one with flesh is just so innately interesting to me. And yes, David Cronenberg was like, I wouldn't say the pioneer of that, but like he's the guy to go to. I understand that, but like, just like the idea of like, just the fleshiness of a human is just like interesting, and the anatomy and all that, and bringing in eldritch ideas as well. And I'm really, I mean, Alison Brie, more so Alison Brie than Dave Franco, but the both of them, she does like fucking weird projects. So like, this is like another like check mark on her career. And then Dave Franco, the Franco that's not a gross, disgusting human being.
So far,
as far as we know, he will definitely be gross and disgusting in this movie, but for a very different reason. But Dave Franco, I think he's a good actor. I know he's like, for the longest time, he was just James Franco's brother. He was like, in Neighbors and shit like that. But like, I think he's a good actor, and like seeing the two of them in this movie and like with the weird surreal imagery, it just, I don't know, like Neon. I mean, they
do some crazy shit.
I mean, here's the thing, A24, like, I know that's like kind of the be all end all right now, but like Neon is getting up there. I mean, Bleecker Street has some good stuff too. I think they did Black Bag.
Yes.
Focus Features, I mean, since they work with Robert Eggers a lot, they got some bangers in there. So in terms of like indie studios, those 4 are like really fucking good. So I'm pumped for this.
I mean, Neon happens to, own 2 of the last 4 Academy Award winners for Best Picture. And then like with Anora getting, I don't know how many, well, I forgot the number, but like they won all the big awards. So yeah, just low key showing up and being like, "Hey, these are the next two things. One of them will probably win an Oscar." So it looks very interesting. Now, before we move on to talking about Lionsgate, which is the last big studio we have to talk about today, we got a nice super chat again. Just some geeky guy. We really appreciate your support. Any of you guys who provide the super chats, they go right back into investing in the channel.
They
itself,
pay
so we
my
really
salary,
appreciate
so
it.
keep doing it, please.
That's quite literally what it does. Just some geeky guys saying Sadie Sink and Sydney Sweeney are both rumored to be playing Peter's new love interest. Now, we don't have Sydney Sweeney confirmed yet, but we know Sadie Sink is in the movie. She's confirmed. So I'm not gonna read the rest of that comment, just some geeky guy, but like John, what are your thoughts? I mean, do you think it's Sydney Sweeney's not confirmed to be in the movie, so it would take more of a leap to be like, yeah, she's the love interest. But what are your thoughts on what Just Some Geeky Guy had to say there?
I think, I mean, Sadie Sink has been, the rumor of like the new love interest for a while. Sydney Sweeney, yes, like, oh yeah, maybe kind of sort of, but that's kind of like far beyond. Sadie Sink, was confirmed to be in this movie. I know everyone's gonna say Mary Jane, but like the thing is with how they did Zendaya, how she's like Michelle Jones Watson, and then they're bringing in Mary Jane Watson. I don't know. It's just a little bit weird. I know Jean Grey was another thing. And then Firestarter or whatever the fuck that character that nobody fucking knows about until this rumor started popping up. So they could do that. I mean, I remember somebody was theorizing, oh, maybe Kitty Pryde because they had a thing in the Ultimate Comics. I know like Black Cat because she could like dye her hair blonde and all that shit. It wouldn't be the first time, so it could be anybody. Like Sydney Sweeney would be too perfect for Black Cat, but I think she's just too busy at this point. Like she has like 15 fucking projects lined up, so I don't think she's would even be able to do this even if she wanted to. So Sadie Sink, whatever they decide to do for her, I think it could be interesting. I hope they don't reveal it immediately, like give us some mystery. So, whatever it is, it could be interesting. I don't know. I just don't think it's Mary Jane.
Yeah, you make a lot of good points. And then Sydney Sweeney also, like you mentioned, she's not actually confirmed to be in the movie. So I just don't know how you make that happen. I mean, yeah, she was also in Madam Web, so I don't know if she or her agent or Marvel wants her to be in another Spider-Man thing anytime soon. So we'll just have to see. But it's a good point. I think it would be a betting man's game to kind of go out and say, hey, Sadie Sink is firmly going to play some sort of love interest for Spider-Man. I mean, it's possible, I suppose. But moving on, guys, let's talk about Lionsgate. Let's talk about John Wick. John Wick is the franchise that, quite frankly, is now carrying the weight of Lionsgate's expectations on its back. And Keanu Reeves' back is, quite frankly, not strong enough anymore to carry it all by himself. So they enlisted some help. Of course, we know Ballerina's coming out this year. You've got Ana de Armas starring in a movie that hopefully will be the first successful spinoff of the franchise, because that Continental TV show on Peacock wasn't necessarily the best thing. They did also announce that John Wick 5 is now official. It's officially in development. And then they announced that there's a new animated prequel that is in development as well. And then more importantly, I thought this was the best thing they announced, which is that Donnie Yen is coming back as Kane. And it's going to be a sequel to the story that we saw develop with him in John Wick 4. And not only is he going to star in it, he's going to direct it. And it's going to be done in the form of, get this, a Hong Kong actioner, meaning it's Donnie Yen in his element, doing his thing. I can't wait for that. But before we talk about Donnie, I wanted to just kind of break this down. Let's start with the very top. John Wick 5, your thoughts. Are we excited? Any more excited now that it's official?
Yeah.
I'm iffy on it. Like on the one hand, yes, I'm excited. More John Wick, awesome. Love John Wick.
Great.
But he fucking died. Like, I understand he like died off
but
screen,
he didn't,
and you
though,
can like,
did he? Like, he
you can like, you can be ambiguous about it, but like, it's just like, what? Here's the thing: what more can you do? Like, he got like the ultimate revenge. What is is it just gonna be 2 hours of him just like on the couch with his dog, just like sipping a coffee and watching like fucking The Bachelor for 2 hours? Like, I can't
pay for it.
imagine like
They'll get my money.
I can't imagine what they would do for this movie. Obviously, they can invent something. I mean, it's a movie. They could they can pull anything out of their ass, but it's like I can't see what they would go and do for this. Because like the first 4 movies took place over the course of like 2 weeks. Like, it was like one after.
It was like almost like
Yeah.
24, like, real time.
Yeah.
They were going through everything. Yeah. I mean, Liz, are you any more excited? I mean, where do you think they can even take the story? Now he's done.
I don't care.
He got out.
I don't care. I'll watch him run errands. I'll watch him wrap Christmas presents. I don't give a shit. I don't care.
Who's he wrapping Christmas presents for?
Whoever he wants. Maybe just the dog. I don't care. Maybe he's gonna give it to the guys at the Continental. I don't care. I love John Wick. I love Keanu Reeves. I want more of it. I can't wait for Ballerina. I'm looking forward to the other sequel, I guess prequel, because that character dies. So I'm all for it with Donnie Yen. I can't wait. Whatever they want to do, go ahead and do it. I will be there.
Fair
All
enough.
right. Well, let's talk about the next thing. So again, there's multiple points to this. Ana de Armas. Now, here's the thing. This was the big centerpiece of the whole John Wick franchise presentation. They gave us like a 10-minute look at the movie, and they showed all this footage where in Ballerina, you have Ana de Armas' character fighting Keanu Reeves because apparently Angelica Huston's character has sent Keanu after her. But then eventually they team up, and then this, on the same side. But you get to see Keanu as the bad guy for the first time in this franchise.
Bad guy.
So I mean, the action looks fantastic. We know that Chad Stahelski went back. It was Chad Stahelski, right? He went back to do some additional photography for this. So, or was it David Leitch? No, it was Chad Stahelski. Am I mixing?
It was Stahelski. Yes.
Stahelski. Yeah.
I still don't know how to fucking pronounce that dude. Chad. I'm just calling him Chad. Like, Chad came back for it.
But I mean, hey, the footage from all accounts looked fantastic. This is the movie that is the next thing up. It comes out June 6th. It's the month before all the big Superman, Fantastic Four, and everything. This will end up being like the thing that warms us up, and like you get into the summer blockbuster movie season. Liz, are you excited about this movie? Getting to see it looks like Keanu Reeves is not just cameoing in this. He's a big part of the film. He's like a supporting. He's actually now in starring Ana de Armas and Keanu Reeves. He's that level of involved in this movie. And obviously this takes place before John Wick 4. So it's not a sequel, but what are your thoughts on where this movie stands, how they marketed it? Are you more excited about it given what they showed us at CinemaCon?
No, I could care less. Dan, yes, of course, I'm excited. What are you talking about? I can't wait for this. What are you talking about? Yes, I can't wait for this movie. More John Wick stories, please. Keep them coming until he's 90. I am fine with it. I am all in. Here we go. Can't wait.
All right. Well, hey, I mean, the footage looked fantastic. I hope we get to see some of that. Maybe they'll put that in front of Minecraft as well. I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that at all. I mean, Ana de Armas did say this is by far the most physical and challenging thing I've ever done, which I don't doubt it. I mean,
I would hope
to be
so.
more creative. They have to still try to have fun doing things that are different than John Wick, but they still have to make this feel like it's part of the same universe. Because obviously, the one thing we don't want is for them to repeat the same gags again and again. There's only so many times you can see a dude pop people in the head with a gun before it gets boring. So I like the creativity they bring to every movie. So it's like was it the second or the third movie where they had the whole knife throwing fight? I'm like, that was different.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I can't wait. Great. What is the signature thing for this movie?
So let's see. A bunch of different guns, bunch of different knives. He fell down a flight of stairs 50 times in a span of 10 minutes. The next one he's gonna have a fight at a roller rink. He's gonna be on skates. I don't give a shit. It's gonna be fantastic. I cannot wait.
Man, just some geeky guy, by the way, is going off with all the super chats. Caleb is saying silent but deadly, John. Yeah, thank you. We got the reference.
Yeah.
But hey, they did look, guys. As it says on the screen here, they announced an animated series. And remember how we've always talked about? Wouldn't it be nice if we got to see John Wick being Baba Yaga, like the bodies he buried that day, made us who we are today, all of that stuff from the first movie. Now it seems like they are giving us the prime of John Wick. And no, they're just some geeky guy. Great spoiler alert. They'll use a Black Lantern thing to resurrect John Wick. I don't think they're gonna do that. But that would be a fantastic crossover because then he can become Constantine in the process. But anyway, as far as we know, there's no plans for doing a live action prequel because they can't de-age, Keanu Reeves, and it's probably too expensive to do it anyway.
He'll look the same. It's fine.
Just shave the beard and like do up the hair. I don't know if he wants to get rid of those locks these days. He's pretty tied.
Well, I mean, he did. I mean, if you saw the press for when he was doing Sonic 3, he cut his hair.
Oh yeah, he had short hair. Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, there you go. Okay, I might be wrong about that, but
Shannon Tyndall, the guy who they got to work on this, he's done like so much stuff. Like it's crazy. Like as a character designer, storyboard artist, writer, just like all the like he's worked on like Static Shock and like Samurai Jack, but then also fucking 8 Crazy Nights and Turbo and just like and also like Ultraman, right? Like this dude's like filmography is stacked with like things. He also worked on the Emoji Movie. Not great, but we all make mistakes. It's fine. Got to get work where you can get it.
I hear. By the way,
it had
hello to Fiona
too, so.
from France, from the east.
Holy cow, girl! Good morning.
Part of France. Good morning to you.
We've been here for 5 hours.
Yes, we have. Actually, the show time is currently 2.5 hours, and we're not done yet. So okay, John. Remember, I was talking about how don't we want to see what John Wick was when he was Baba Yaga, the guy who buried so many bodies. That first movie is so fucking good. Anyway, they're doing an animated prequel, as this headline has said for the past 10 minutes on screen. Liz, is this one that you're gonna watch? Are you gonna watch an animated John Wick? Do you think Keanu Reeves is gonna voice all the 10 words of dialogue where he's like, huh, yeah.
Why wouldn't he? He was great in Sonic. I want more of him. Why not?
I mean, do you even need Keanu? Do you even at this point need him to come back and do like a brand new recording? You could just
his voice is enough.
Like he's just gonna like shoot up 5 people and be like, and then somebody asks him a question, is like, "Are you done yet?" He's like, "Yeah."
Sure. Let AI do it. I don't care. Let's
not get that far. He might hate everybody.
As long as he gets a check, I don't care. I'm in. Whatever. He can read the phone book. I'm a part of this. I will be a John Wick stan until I die. I might have to change my last name from Marvel to Wick. I don't give a shit. I love him.
Elizabeth Wick. You know what?
Elizabeth Wick. Why not?
It does roll off the tongue. It does roll off the tongue. All right, so that wasn't the only thing. Of course, okay. Now this is the one that you guys all want to talk about, and I'm sorry I held you guys up. We had to talk about the other projects, but here we go. Donnie fucking Yen is coming back as Kane, and he's gonna get his own spin-off. He's gonna be the blind assassin, not from Rogue One, the one from John Wick. He's gonna be the blind assassin who's going to get a spin-off that's a sequel to John Wick 4, where he was introduced, and we saw one of the post-credit scenes basically set something up. So I wonder if this is paying that off. Mattson Tomlin, who wrote the Batman Part 2, is writing this. So apparently
hopefully he's faster than Matt Reeves.
Yeah, apparently Matt Reeves is like, dude, I got this. And then Matt Tomlinson he's gonna come back. Mattson's gonna come back to this project after he finishes that Donnie Yen movie. He's gonna be like, Matt, are you done yet? And then Reeves is like, oh man, I wish you could just help me out here. It's like he's gonna be 2032. We'll still be waiting for Batman Part 2. Donnie Yen would have given us a whole trilogy of movies. But before we get that far ahead, Liz, are you excited to see Kane back? And they specifically said this is going to be a Hong Kong actioner. Like, we're not just getting another I just want to see how they're going to mix the thing. Like, the Hiroyuki Sanada and Donnie Yen fight in John Wick 4 is honestly probably the best fight in this franchise, not involving John Wick. And I could have seen that for a whole movie. And the guy who was Ip Man is not going to be coming back in the John Wick franchise. I can't wait. I don't know. What do you have to say for this, Liz? Are you excited?
No, I don't care. Where have you been, Dan? Yes, of course I'm excited. Are you joking? He's fantastic. Quite frankly, I want them to bring in Daredevil. I want them to bring in David Harbour from A Working Man. Let's get all the blind murderers and just killers in one project and let them go fucking off. I'm for it. I can't wait for this shit. Are you kidding me? Fantastic. If there's anything that I love, it's a creative way to murder people. So let's do this thing. Let's do it. I'm for it, babe. I'm for it. I'm all in. Take my money.
By the way, Fiona, late to the news. Rest in peace, Val Kilmer. We did a whole 10-minute tribute to Val Kilmer. We kind of did a breaking news segment because it happened while we were live. So if you want to go back and rewind, we talked about his whole portfolio of movies, and rest in peace to Val Kilmer, gone too soon, age 65. He was a Iceman, and he himself was a bit of a maverick, and we will miss him.
The Iceman cometh.
Well, John,
we gotta alleviate with humor a little bit. We love them, but alleviate it a little bit, so it doesn't get too bad.
Absolutely. When Liz is on the show, we gotta have the Marvel comic relief helps. But John, what are your thoughts on Donnie Yen? Are you gonna be watching this movie the day that it comes out, 5 days before, in a special fan screening? Like, what is your level of anticipation for Ip Man permanently joining the John Wick franchise?
Fucking let's go. I mean, I just find it so kind of like funny where it was like the guy who's blind uses a cane, is also named Kane. Cute. But yeah, Donnie Yen is fucking bro's Ip Man. Like, yeah, give me that Ip Man magic. Like, let's fucking fucking Hong Kong martial arts movies are so fucking insane. They are like almost like Bollywood levels of ridiculous in terms. Have you seen Kung Fu Hustle? Like that movie is fucking amazing. I fucking love that fucking movie. The fucking landlady, goated. Strong female characters. Nobody has anything on the land. Perfect. That movie. Like, I didn't expect anything from the movie, but I was watching it in college, and since half the time the movies they picked sucked, I would just fall asleep. But like that one, I was like wide awake. I'm like, what is this movie? And can I get more of it like injected into my veins? If you have not seen Kung Fu Hustle, fucking go and watch it. That movie is fucking amazing. Perfect action comedy.
Like, he loves to play that whole blind assassin thing. Like in Rogue One, he was basically a blind monk. And then in John Wick, he's a blind assassin. Ip Man is always this understated character who's just casually kicks ass. So I'm like, he likes to play that unassuming dude who's totally gonna beat you up and walk away the clear victory. It's just, I cannot wait to see this. I feel like of all the pieces of news from the John Wick world that we got, that Donnie Yen news is the best part. Like, he was such a good part of that movie. It's like when he left the movie, I was like, oh man, is he going to have to do a sequel now? I wanted more of him. And then we get the post-credit sequence, and I'm like, they better pay that shit off. And it looks like they will. So I cannot wait for this. I'm actually personally, I'm honestly more excited for the Donnie Yen movie than I am for John Wick 5.
And that's okay. That's fair. That's fair.
I'm like, you know what? I mean, if Keanu Reeves passes the baton on to Donnie Yen after this, then why not? That you could do a whole lot worse. I mean, hell yeah! This is Donnie Yen's time to be Hollywood famous. Let's fucking do this. All right. Speaking of Hollywood famous, American Psycho is getting a reboot, and it's not gonna have Christian Bale in it, but they're doing it. Luca Guadagnino, who apparently is also doing a Sergeant Rock movie, and he of course did the Queer movie with Daniel Craig. He's now getting ready to take on his version of Patrick Bateman, and American Psycho is set to come out. I don't know if there was a release timeline on this, but there was a presentation. I don't know if it's too early to do a reboot, but I guess I'll let you guys take the floor on that. I mean, Liz, John, what are your thoughts? They're doing an American Psycho reboot, and Luca Guadagnino is involved with it. Would you be interested in going to see this?
I still never saw the first one, so
I'm very on the fence because American Psycho is one of my favorite movies. I love this movie.
Oh.
Christian Bale was excellent. And no, before you said no, I don't think it's because he's literally me. Don't fucking think I'm one of those degenerate incels. Even though I kind of look like one, I'm not. It's just like I find the movie to be incredibly fascinating, and I think Christian Bale does like the fucking sociopathic fucking killer just it's his best performance. I don't care what anybody says. That American Psycho is Christian as Patrick Bateman. It is Bale's best performance without a doubt. Machinist is a close second, but I'm on the fence. Luca Guadagnino. I have not seen any of his films. I haven't seen Call Me by Your Name. I haven't seen Challengers. I haven't seen his Suspiria remake, but I have heard in regards to remakes. I have heard his Suspiria movie is quite good, very different from the original. But it's like 3 hours and really slow. So I don't know how like that'll work for me. But like, don't get me wrong, I like slow burn 3 hour movies, but like make sure it's good. So I'm on the fence. I don't know about Austin Butler doing the movie. Like Glenn Powell was right fucking there. Like, guys, come on.
That's fair.
But
That is fair.
even then,
but
like,
does he have the range to pull this off?
yes, shut up,
He's
Dan.
got the range, Dan. He's got the range.
I mean, I'm super excited for Running Man, though. I will say that just wrapped filming, by the way. But it like again, and it seems like Guadagnino is going for this, which is what I was saying before. Readapt the book. Now, how they're gonna get away with readapting the book, I don't know, because that movie needs to be like NC-17 because of how much fucked up shit happens in the book. It makes the movie look like nothing by comparison. So I'm really curious how they're gonna do that, and I think Guadagnino is gonna at least make it a fascinating kind of thing. Just don't buy into like the fucking literally me memes, and you should be okay. I'm curious, I'm intrigued, but I'm still really on the fence to see if this is the right guy for it or if this like is just going to end up being more of a remake of the original film because Mary Harron did such a great job, and I think it helped that she was a woman doing like a portrait of a male serial killer. I think that majorly helped that. So I don't know. There's a lot of bits and pieces that make me really curious and fascinated and intrigued with this readaptation or remake. But at the same time, it makes me very, very, very nervous at the same time. So obviously, we haven't gotten anything yet. We've only gotten a little bit with this. So we will see.
Yeah. I mean, Liz, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, again, I've never seen the first one. It's always been on my list. It's not a matter of the desire. I do want to see it, but I mean, hey, I like some of Luca's films, so I'll check it out for sure.
Yeah,
But I'll try and catch the Christian Bale one first.
Yeah, definitely check. I mean, people consider that a cult classic, and
Yeah.
as far as where the project stands right now, Guadagnino said that he's looking to cast some exciting performers for this, so he hasn't really gone through that casting process, and he hopes to bring some footage back next year. So we'll see. I mean, it depends, I guess, if whether this thing moves fast enough. Maybe he does this first and then Sergeant Rock. Maybe I don't know. We'll have to just see how quickly or not this movie progresses. But John, there were a few other movies that Lionsgate talked about, and one of them was, of course, we talked about Sydney Sweeney earlier in the show. Sydney Sweeney, Amanda Seyfried, and of course, Brendan Sklenar, who I was almost duped by April Fool's joke that he would be our next Batman. But the three of these actors, they are sharing the screen in the new terrifying trailer for The Housemaid, which they showed off at CinemaCon. And they were quoted as saying, "We created some wacky shit." Paul Feig's adaptation of the best-selling novel. I'm starting to lose my words here, but is this one that interests you? Another horror pick, John? I mean, with these three actors, would you go see it?
Sure. I mean, Sydney Sweeney, yes. Brandon Sklenar, I'm curious with him. I mean, I was excited to see
Dude,
Drop,
that
but
recent
now
1923 episode where they killed like a shit ton of characters, that was intense.
all right, I gotta ask my parents about that because they watch the show and I don't. So oh, it's Paul Feig. Never mind. Okay, I'm not watching this. I was like, oh, I'm curious. Paul, nope.
Liz, are you interested? I mean, it looks like John's out
Yeah.
on this one.
I'll see it. I mean, I
will
do
at
like
the most pirate it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm sure Lionsgate
Well,
will appreciate your honesty.
Yeah, I do like all of these actors. I mean, I was duped by that. I thought we were going to talk about it today, that apparently he was the new Batman. I'm really happy he's not, because I was ready to be all stank about it. Not really a reflection of him. He's just not Batman. I really like him. I'm looking forward to Drop. He was good in It Ends With Us, all the controversy withstanding. So yeah. And Amanda Seyfried is just she's really coming out of the gate these days with some crazy performances. So yeah, I'm down to
She's got
clown.
like that show on Peacock that I keep seeing the trailers for it. I want to check that out too. Like there's a 3-word name for it. Somebody tell me in the chat. But yeah, she's got a bunch of projects coming out. Not to mention she admitted that she could have been Gamora, but she thought that would be the end of her career recently. Well, that's one bad decision. She's making a bunch of good ones though. So hey, this one will be one of the
doing all right.
One of the releases. Now, of course, at Lionsgate's presentation, they finished off the whole thing. Now, this is not the last thing we're going to talk about for Lionsgate, but the whole presentation was wrapped up with a surprise performance by The Weeknd, because The Weeknd has actually got a movie coming out with Lionsgate, and he came out and like they played the trailer for it, and while the trailer played, they brought The Weeknd out and all the rest of his band and the orchestra. So he played everything off the stage, but we're gonna get into that a little bit later because I want to discuss that and get your opinion on it. Like, what do you think about his movie? But one of the projects that they discussed before they brought The Weeknd out was Stephen King's The Long Walk, which lands in theaters this September 12th. And this movie is directed by Francis Lawrence, as you can see right there, and of course stars Mark Hamill in a villainous role. Your thoughts on this one? Did we talk about this one already, or what are your thoughts on this movie, guys?
I'm excited for this. I know it's been like I think David Fincher wanted to do it. No, Frank Darabont wanted to do it for years and years. That would have been amazing, but I think Frank Darabont has pretty much retired after like trying to get a movie off the ground for like a decade and a half now. He's just like, you know what? Fuck it. It ain't worth the headache, which is a shame because Frank Darabont, such a fucking excellent filmmaker. Like that dude only made bangers, mostly Stephen King stuff, but I'm not complaining. So it would have been amazing to see Frank Darabont's The Long Walk, but I do think Francis Lawrence is a very good director. I mean, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes being his most recent film, very great. So I'm not mad. I'm just like, if we're comparing like directors, like come on, like Frank Darabont, holy shit. Like when your fucking directorial debut is considered one of the greatest movies ever made, it's kind of hard to be like, oh yeah, let's get the guy who did Hunger Games. Not bad, but like at the same time, it's like there's a fucking major like there's a big gap with that. So I'm not complaining too much. I think he'll do a good job. Long Walk is an like incredibly great premise. I have the book. It's on my shelf. Better go read it now. But hey, I said the same thing for the Salem's Lot adaptation, and I still didn't even get through the first like 3 chapters. So, I'm a terrible reader nowadays, but it makes sense because The Long Walk is very like dystopian sci-fi, which is what the Hunger Games was. I mean, everyone was making jokes at the time when the Hunger Games movie came out, where it was like, oh, dystopian sci-fi, they're the first ones to do this like this. And it's like, hey, look at all these a million other things that, Hunger Games ripped off, took inspiration from, and did this. So it makes sense that he would be the director chosen for this movie. But it's such a great concept. I just hope they stick the landing with like the darker concepts and ideas of the movie rather than Hollywoodizing it. So let's hope for that, because it's a great premise. It's a great story, and Stephen King's great. So he not as a person, his work is great. He's an asshole, but like his work is awesome.
Yeah, well, I mean, Mark, to me, the biggest, pull for this project is that he's playing a villain. And I think the only thing that I know Mark Hamill as being a villain in is the voice of Joker. So I'm excited to see what he, turns in with this performance. But I did want to kind of quickly go back to the weekend. I mentioned earlier, he has a movie coming out with Lionsgate. So the movie that he has coming out, where did I have? I had it pulled up somewhere. Yes, right here. So many things. Jenna Ortega and The Weeknd are starring in a movie called Hurry Up Tomorrow, which is directed by Trey Edward Schultz.
And Barry's in it too.
Oh, okay. Wait, Barry Keoghan?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Well,
Yes,
that's
sir.
the one that they wrapped up the presentation with, and they brought The Weeknd out, and he did a whole impromptu concert. He apparently played the what's the signature song that he has? Something Blinding Lights. Like that was the one that he wrapped things up with. I'm like, that one always sticks with me, but everything else, I don't know. Like it's a mixed bag with The Weeknd. Are you guys a fan of what he had to say and bring out? I mean, he was the big finale. They were like, we got a musical act here. That was interesting to me. I don't know how he's gonna mesh with Jenna Ortega because I don't really think The Weeknd is a great actor per se. He had that show that was Idol on HBO.
I mean, he's essentially playing
the
himself
Idol
in
was
this
bad.
film. He is essentially playing himself in this film. So I think they're actually even referring to him by his real name,
really?
Abel.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to it. I like the trailer. It looks really creepy. It looks really interesting.
Okay.
It looks certainly unhinged. Jenna Ortega, from what I gathered from the trailer, Jenna Ortega is like a stalker who essentially kidnaps him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Barry's
Wow.
like maybe his handler or his minion or his manager or what have you. But no, I'm looking forward to it. I think it looks very interesting.
I thought that
Obviously.
they were like lovers. That's the vibe I got from the
No,
trailer.
it looks as though she's a super fan who
No, not her. Him and Barry Keoghan.
Oh, hey, maybe.
That's
really?
that's the vibe
Yeah.
I got. Like, because I thought they
Okay.
kissed in the trailer. I thought they were like
Nice.
lovers or
Okay.
partners or
Yeah.
whatever the fuck.
Represent. Yeah.
Okay. I'm
okay.
down to clown with that too. So yeah, I'm gonna see.
I
it
mean,
for-
Barry Keoghan already fucked a grave. Like, he can't really do like anything
That's
more
fair.
weird than that.
He surely did. He surely did.
All right.
And
Well, on
improv at that. Yeah.
great. On
He's a
that-
weird fellow, but we're going with it.
But it works. It translates. Hey,
It does. Speaking
ahead,
of
Barry.
Hunger Games: Sunrise and the Reaping is coming out. It's not coming out this
Speaking of
year. It's
Hunger Games.
filming in July. I don't believe they gave us a date, but apparently the screenwriter Billy Ray is set to write the prequel. He wrote, I believe, some of the original movies. Billy Ray was it the same screenwriter? So he's back.
No.
This movie, are you excited, Liz? Because this is
Yeah.
coming off of a book that just got released, I don't know, weeks ago, months ago.
Yeah, I'm picking
Like
I'm picking it up tomorrow. Actually, yeah.
So Sunrise.
My
and the
sister
Reaping
read
is
it. She said it was
also-
really good.
Okay,
It's thick as fuck. I'll tell you. It's
question
one of
for
the
both
one
of
of
you
the thickest
guys.
ones.
I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, there's obviously the fan base for this franchise that's gonna go see it, but like, how does
Yep.
does this have the potential to expand the overall fan base of the franchise? Because this book apparently isn't a direct sequel to the Songbirds and Snakes or whatever the previous movie was,
Correct.
but it's still a prequel to the Hunger Games. Like, give me a better idea of what this movie actually is.
So the Songbirds and Snakes was about Snow in particular and how he kind of came up with the idea of a Hunger Games. Whereas this seems as though, again, I haven't read the book yet. I'm picking it up tomorrow. This seems as though this is like the start of the Hunger Games. This is like the first ever.
No, it's not.
No, okay.
It's
Okay.
Sorry, I hate to like
No, I
be a
appreciate it. No,
man-
go
I
ahead.
hate to mansplain, but but my sister like literally has been talking about this book for months, so like I've gotten
cute.
inundated with it.
That's nice.
But it's about Hamish's Hunger Games, the one
Oh,
he
okay.
won.
Woody
So
Harrelson,
it's about that. So but
Okay,
it does there's a lot, but she said there because again she's like recommending everything. So she's like, it does have plot points that goes back to the Ballad and Songbirds and Snake book.
Sure.
So there's like, so you would need to read that book, even though it seems like they're very separate.
Yeah.
They would need to you would need to read one to understand
That's
the
fine
other.
by me. I've already read it. So that's great.
And Sunrise on the Reaping, I saw a picture of it. It's definitely, I think it's like half the size of Ballad
No,
of Songbirds and Snakes. That's what I saw.
absolutely not. It's twice the size. It's fucking huge.
Yeah.
It's fucking
If that's the case,
huge.
I'm definitely not reading because my sister's like, you
Yeah.
should read them. I'm like, I'm not
No,
reading them.
I'm picking it up tomorrow. I'm very excited. Actually, maybe I'm trying to remember how thick Songbirds and Snakes was. Yeah, maybe it's along the same lines, but no, I'm picking it up tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, this for me, you know, the Hunger Games films, the franchise, not necessarily the books, because I know obviously they came out before the films, but for me, like it's a time period in cinema, you know, like we had The Maze, we had Divergent, we had even, I mean, I'll even throw Twilight in there and Harry Potter, certainly, because Harry Potter was wrapping up as these movies started to ramp up.
Right.
So it's like one of the last of like these dying franchises. And I'm glad more books are coming out. I'm glad more films are coming out because I did enjoy them. The books are good. They're also still kind of, I wouldn't say a reflection of our times today, but there are some, you know, some messages in there that we could all use to it. I think it'll be good, and I'm excited to talk about the fan casting of who might play a young Woody Harrelson. So who knows?
By the
You
way,
know?
Enterprising pointing out something really important because this was when everybody was leaving the
What?
auditorium.
That's
Everybody got a
cool.
free copy of the book.
Dan,
if
we
you
gotta
were
go
in
to
the-
this thing, man. Oh, we love
we will-
swag.
I'm sure we can make this a thing in the
Oh,
future for
God,
us.
this motherfucker wrote the goddamn Nicole Kidman ad. Oh, I have no hope. I have no fucking hope for this movie. Fuck this guy.
He wrote what?
Fuck this guy.
It's
Oh.
Billy Ray wrote the original Hunger Games movies, but also he co-wrote them.
I
but he
know
also
that
wrote
son
them.
of a bitch word for word. I can do it for you guys right now. If
I
you
would
want
have
to go down
preferred
memory
Billy
lane.
Ray Cyrus write this
no,
goddamn
no,
movie.
Oh
no.
no!
Well, I mean, this okay.
I'm just
this
kidding.
next
I'm just kidding.
This next Hunger Games movie, it's set to come out in November of this 2026, November 20th, 2026.
Cool,
It's
man.
filming this summer. I believe they said July. And then Francis Lawrence said at CinemaCon, we're really just getting into the casting process right now. We're very excited.
That was my next question.
Been-
Okay. That's
yeah,
exciting.
so they've been working on the draft on this draft for a year. We start shooting in July, so it looks like they're getting pretty close to finalizing the script. So
How much do we want to bet one of the brothers from Gladiator 2 is going to be in it? Because apparently they're in every fucking movie now. Or
Yeah,
we
Fred
can't get away
Hetchinger,
from these
Joseph
yeah.
Quinn. Yeah,
I mean,
Joseph
but
Quinn.
I'm for it. I like him. I'm for it. But you know for a fact at least one of them, if not both, might end up in this fucking movie. You know it's
I
happening.
wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. It's just gonna be interesting because again, prequels don't usually do as well as the original movies in any franchise. So we know that the last Hunger Games movie did just enough to be somewhat profitable, but
I mean,
nothing
the
that
book
blew
itself
the doors off.
wasn't the best of the series. So
Yeah.
you know,
It's just
hopefully
gonna
this
be.
book is a little
I
better.
mean, the fact that they've got the same director doing all of these, at least you get some continuity along that. And then I guess Billy Ray coming back to co-write it, so you got some continuity. I get it, but
You know,
like,
I
hey,
like
this was.
that.
This is
Yeah.
one of those movies. Look, for Lionsgate, it's not gonna save their slate of movies this year, but maybe it
No.
could be the star in their, the jewel in their, well, the crown. I'm trying to say the crown jewel in their supposed crown, whatever. Next year, that could be the biggest movie that they have to offer. November though is a time of the year when you're getting close enough to Christmas, but November 20th is still a little bit too far away. So I don't know. We'll see when the movie comes out. We'll have to see when the trailer comes out. Now, one thing I wanted to kind of quickly address, because Lionsgate really didn't touch on it much, because I don't think they have much to say as of right now. Remember we talked about a while ago that the Michael Jackson movie, which they showed some footage for the year before, like last year, but this year, because if you guys remember, the news was, it came out like a couple of months ago at this point, that the estate of Michael Jackson forgot, I don't know how you do this, they forgot to mention to Lionsgate they couldn't use basically a huge part of the story that that made up the movie about the King of Pop. And essentially now, as a result of that, like one of the underage accusers of Michael Jackson was heavily featured in the movie that they shot, and then the state was like, oh, we have an agreement with them that we can't actually include you in anything, in like no movie about Michael Jackson. So as a result of that, we are in a situation now where the Michael Jackson movie might be going back and reshooting pretty much the whole thing. So this year, all they said when they asked about it was, hey, look, we're working on it. We will have an update for you guys soon, but we don't have much to say about it right now because I guess even some of the footage they showed last year will no longer be in the actual movie. So it was just interesting. I just wanted to kind of quickly offer the update because, yeah, if you guys are wondering what happened to that Michael Jackson movie, they're going back to pretty much the drawing board on it because,
Yeah.
yeah,
They pretty
what a
much said that it's
clusterfuck that
gonna
was.
come out in next year, so we'll see. But yeah, it's kind of a shame because I was really looking forward to this.
Yeah, Enterprise is saying what an F up, or such an F up, and then he was saying gross. What kind of movie were they making anyway? Jeez, no, it wasn't like they were documenting any events that supposedly was Michael Jackson was accused of. It was more so the people featured included one of the underage, I think it was it was a kid at the time, who had accused Michael Jackson, and he was part of the movie. Like they had a young actor cast in the role who was a big part of the movie. So they were like, well, the family of that person in real life had a settlement with Michael Jackson where they couldn't feature them in anything regarding Michael Jackson moving forward. And somehow the state of Michael Jackson forgot to mention that to Lionsgate when they told him, yeah, the script looks good, go ahead and make the thing. So now the state of Michael Jackson is paying for Lionsgate to go out and fix this thing, which is probably means reshooting most of it. So like you said, John, it's probably set to come out at some point next year, which we'll find out. We'll find out if that date sticks, the one that they have offered for March. But it was supposed to be October 3rd, so that's definitely not happening.
Nope.
With that said, let's quickly touch on a few other things. Power Ballad was another movie that they talked about, and Good Fortune was another movie they talked about. Power Ballad is the one with you see on the left there, Paul Rudd, which sounds very, very interesting. Liz, have you heard of this movie? What are your thoughts on Power Ballad?
No, I read the article. It's definitely interesting. Apparently, he's going to be he I forget exactly, but he ends up they try to write songs. I forget who else is in the film. I vaguely
it's got Nick Jonas in it, by the way. Nick
Yes,
Jonas
thank you.
and
So
Paul Rudd together.
so he does he performs in front of Nick Jonas and kind
Yep.
of impresses him, and Nick says, "Hey, let's get together and let's, just try and to work some stuff out," and they write some songs, and so I guess we're going to be hearing a lot of Paul Rudd singing, so that's something.
Yeah, and then apparently, according to this article here, Nick Jonas steals the song, and then Paul Rudd is like, "Whoa! I wrote the song." So and then then
Oh,
chaos
well then now I'm
ensues.
in. That's going to be good.
So, Paul Rudd looking young as ever. But then the other movie was Good Fortune. This is the Aziz Ansari movie where basically John Wick, Keanu Reeves is playing an angel, who's trying to stop drivers who are texting while driving from making all the wrong decisions. They showed a trailer for this, which looks fantastic. I can't wait for this movie. I can't wait to see John Wick be like the angel in the back of the taxi. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Another underrated movie that you wonder again how much money it's going to make if this is a straight to streaming thing that they're putting out in theaters, but I can't wait for it. Aziz Ansari is in the movie, he directs the movie, and then Seth Rogen is in it as well. Of course, he's going off right now with the studio on Apple TV Plus, and then Keanu Reeves is the guardian angel, so that just looks fun. I'm like, give me that combination of ingredients any day of the week. I mean, John, did you get a chance to read up on Good Fortune? This is one of those.
This sounds like very much like in season. Sorry, like I love the idea of like an "It's a Wonderful Life" scenario that goes bad.
Yeah.
Like it's like actually, I prefer this life way fucking more, and he has to figure this shit out. It's kind of reminds me of like It's a Wonderful Life meets Heaven Can Wait / Here Comes Mr. Jordan. So I kind of like that aspect as well. Like that's and and then of course you have Keanu Reeves playing a fucking angel. Of course you do. Like, isn't that obvious? But yeah, that sounds like I'm not a big Aziz Ansari fan, but I think he can be funny. So
I'm excited because we haven't seen Aziz in a minute, it feels like. So I'm looking forward to this for sure.
He's probably had like stand-up specials and shit like that.
Yeah,
he had a little controversy himself, so I think he's kind of been keeping his head down.
Oh, I didn't know that. My bad.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait for Keanu Reeves to play a guardian angel. That will be, my favorite part of the movie. Now, of course, the other big franchise that they talked about at CinemaCon is Now You See Me 3, which got a new title, Now You See Me, Now You Don't. And then they also announced
Oh,
that they're
now they
working-
fucking bring it in. Fucking like you literally you called the first one Now You See Me, and then you called the sequel Now You Don't. Now they're bringing in the bruh. Like, come on, like you too late. Too late. You fucked it up. It's like calling the third Beetlejuice movie Beetlejuiciest. You fucked it up by not calling the sequel Beetlejuicier. Like you already screwed up. Don't try to get us back with that. Come on now. Fuck out of here.
I'm like, by that logic, like what it would be like Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice is the third one, and then you just keep making it longer.
Beetlejuicy fruit.
Juicy fruit.
Beetlejuice. So now it's going to be awkward. Now it's Now You See Me, Now You See Me 2, and then Now You See Me, Now You Don't. It's too awkward now. It's
and then they'll have a fourth one. They also said that the fourth one is already in the works.
Who cares about this fucking franchise?
Why
is it
genuinely?
A franchise? Who gives a fuck?
It's been way too long. Yeah, genuinely.
And it's like Jesse Eisenberg is getting off of like Oscar nominations, bro. Like, why is he why is he doing this?
He's still gonna Woody Harrelson does every other movie he does is just for the paycheck. And I guess Jesse and Dave
just to leave that, just have something to do. I honestly think. I think he's like, I'm not doing anything this week. Sure.
It's also they have Justice Smith in this. He's like the new guy, so that looks interesting. That part, I mean, he's an entertaining actor. I'd watch him in anything. So look, I for one loved the first movie. I think a lot of people did. The second one was a little over the top. Like you can't really believe the magic anymore. It was just like it was actually magic, not like magic that was like real people doing magic. And then I mean they showed some footage.
Then it became like heisty.
Yeah, it's they showed some footage for the Now You See Me, Now You Don't, and it just again kind of like further perpetuated the idea they're kind of going the way of. They went from street racing in Fast and Furious to doing heists in Brazil where they're dragging safes across
we're gonna
the bridge.
Kill God in the last.
We're gonna go to space in a car that's got wrapped in duct tape. I feel like that's the trajectory of this franchise, where by the time we get to the fifth movie, they're doing a heist on the International Space Station. So it feels like that's where they're going. I'm like, you don't need to. You could do more spectacle, but not make it unrealistic, right? Like you just have to watch the Dark Knight trilogy to do that, to know how to do that. So. But still, I for one sort of enjoyed the second movie because as long as it has the charm, I'll be there for it. And Justice Smith, I'm curious to see how he kind of meshes with the team. So we'll just have to see. I don't know. The last movie didn't make a ton of money, so I don't even know why they're planning a fourth one already. It's like let's just see how the third one does. Maybe you could just wrap it up as a trilogy and move on. But they're committed to it. So that was the Lionsgate panel. I mean, we went through literally everything. A ton of movies, but with that, John and Liz, we have now finally come to the part of the show where we will get into the quick hits, the quicker part of the show.
Almost there, guys. We're almost there.
We're almost there. But before we do, while I load up the quick hits here, by the way, enterprising saying Jesse Eisenberg is now officially Polish. He is. He got his.
Yeah, I think we covered
that. That was great.
Welcome, my brother, and welcome. Yes.
But in the meantime, while I open up the quickest, I just wanted to get both of your opinions. What was the best part of CinemaCon so far? What has been your favorite movie as far as not just the movie, because we all have our favorite movies, but which movie do you think brought out the most that you enjoyed in terms of news, footage, people, quotes, anything?
I mean, I wasn't there. Getting a free book, cool. 10 minutes of F1, cool. A performance by The Weeknd, fucking yeah, nice. I mean, good stuff, man. I mean, being in the same room as Leonardo DiCaprio is something. So, I mean, it's all good stuff, man.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Superman stuff. Obviously, I'm gonna like the DC stuff. But Life of Chuck and
yeah, Enterprising is saying Karate Kid 100%.
Karate Kid definitely. Them announcing more John Wick stuff. I think all that is really great. For the most part, pretty much it was hit after hit of announcements and stuff like that. So
yeah,
and
it's only day
this was
two.
just
it's
today.
Only day two.
So it's what the fuck else are they gonna do for the rest of this goddamn week?
Well, you know
Damn.
what they're gonna do is they're gonna cross over the Fast and Furious with Jurassic World because
You're gonna cross the
Universal
streams,
is coming out tomorrow with focus features and everything else that they've got. Fast and Furious Part 2 or Fast X Part 2, whatever they want to call that thing, and so many other things. And then of course Disney finishes out the week on Thursday with their big presentation. So we've still got a bunch more to go. Paramount hasn't done theirs yet. So we've got that as well. So we're not anywhere close to being done for the week. But as I promised, it's time for quick hits. So let me grab that music and we will talk about some Coyote versus Acme. Thank you, John. All right. Oh,
That's a little loud.
All right, cool. Okay, let's do the quick hits, shall we? And we'll wrap up on the quick hits today. Look at that. That's unique. That's different. Okay, Liz. So Coyote versus Acme has been rescued after Warner Brothers had axed the film. It was finished, but they said no can do, and they wanted to take the tax break on it. They did, but John, guess what? Now Ketchup Entertainment, who rescued The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie, has paid up $50 million to buy Coyote versus Acme, and they'll be putting it out in theaters next year in 2026. What are your guys' thoughts on this? John Cena, Coyote versus Acme. We're getting this movie, guys. We're getting it. Finally,
Nature is healing. Nature is healing. We're finally getting it. I don't care if it's the biggest pile of shit ever. It deserves to be seen. Like same with Batgirl, same with Scoob, Holiday Haunt. They all deserve to be seen. Like I don't care how bad they are. It's just like pouring this much into a creative vision and then not having that at least be shown. That fucking is stupid.
Yeah, like the Powerpuff Girls movie.
I fuck it. Release. It wasn't a
show.
movie. It was a show.
It was a TV show. I would still pay
Like
for
to see the footage. Is all I'm saying.
I'm saying if they put that up on like Apple Movies or whatever, like just put it on iTunes for $20, I will pay $20 to watch the pilot. I will
100%.
pay the money. $30, $50. I might even pay $50. Like I'll do it. I'll definitely do it. But
why'd you get rid of the music?
I didn't. Oh, there we go. It's back.
It wasn't on loop, guys.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Well, it's back now.
Whoopsie daisies.
Oops. We'll fix that there. Okay. Moving on to the next quick hit. So, Cinema United, which is formerly NATO, North American theater owners, they're now known as Cinema United because they don't want to be confused with the other NATO. The CEO of NATO, Michael O'Leary, he was making an argument at one of the opening presentations of CinemaCon this week that we should get longer theatrical windows. There must be a baseline because what has happened since COVID is some movies could be in theaters as little as 17 or 31 days, depending on if studios don't hit certain benchmarks with the box office. But they have been advocating now throughout CinemaCon so far that box office success and consumer demand can be effectively determined short of a 45-day window. So my question to you guys would be, do you agree that movies should stay in theaters exclusively for at least a month and a half, at least 45 days?
Yes.
Yeah,
See,
I think that's
not
fair. Yeah.
all CEOs need to be Luigi. This guy's cool. Don't Luigi him, guys. I like this guy. This guy's cool. Let's keep this guy.
I mean, it does.
45 days. Perfect.
It started really surprising because I think it started maybe last year or possibly 2023 where it was like sometimes movies would be released at the exact same time that they were available for streaming, and I'd be sitting there being like, why the fuck? Nobody's going to choose that option. Nobody's going to spend the money if they can watch it from the comforts of their own home. Even if it is, for a fee, it's still going to be cheaper than going out with a group of friends or family or whatever.
Yeah.
And even now, still, some of these titles go to streaming so quickly after being released in theaters. It just doesn't. It never made sense to me. So like, hello, what are you doing, gang? By the way, Captain America is still showing at my theater. What?
Dang,
I don't.
okay.
It's. I don't know what's going on. So is
That's
One of
fantastic.
Them Days, which the Kiki Palmer film. I'm like, it's been like at least
That's
a month
been
and a half
in
now.
since January. That was
Yeah,
like
it's
mid-January.
real. I'm
release.
not sure what we're doing, like because we still have new
Sure,
releases
go for
coming
it.
out. So every time I look at the schedule, I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. So yeah, this is interesting for sure. I mean, and I completely agree.
I think like there's a few studios that in my opinion are the worst offenders, like Warner Brothers and Universal, like Fall Guy was not doing well. But the fact that they put it on streaming like literally a week and a half after it came out,
Yes.
I thought was too soon. Like
Yeah.
there's movies out there that will get discovered in week 3 and 4 and might shoot up. We have seen that in the past, but now these studios taking them out, out of theaters so
Yeah.
quickly. You're just giving up on them too soon. Like you're not gonna make that money from streaming. It just doesn't make sense. I'm like,
Well,
give them more of a chance.
and there needs to be some consistency as well. So like Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, I've been trying to show my friends forever because I know they're really
Right.
going to like the film, but it was only available to rent or buy. You couldn't for the longest time you could not stream it for free. So it's weird, like why does this film come out automatically, no problem at all, and then this film they're coveting? It never made any sense to me. So hopefully there can be some consistency now that this guy has kind of brought it to everybody's attention.
Yeah, and he's not the only one. I mean, this is. I just put up a super chat. We'll get to the super chat in a bit. Just some geeky guy, but Elite Easy was saying that they should learn from Marvel, DC, and Warner Brothers.
They got a weak pullout game.
Okay. Now here's the thing, though. Some movies do benefit a lot from the post-theatrical release window, but that's
Yes.
only usually because they did really well theatrically and people loved it, so they want to see it again and again. Top Gun Maverick was a big example of that. Barbie was a big example of that. Wicked of late is the newest example of that. They made $100 million on premium video on demand, so you being able to buy it on iTunes and stuff, or you watching it on Peacock. And Universal said that making that kind of money, they obviously thought it was a good idea for them to put it on streaming when they did, but it wasn't a movie that pulled out of theaters in 30 or 45 days or less. This movie was playing in theaters exclusively for like 4 or 5 months. So I think if anything, this supports the argument, right? Like Wicked is also a rare example. Like most movies don't make that kind of money in PVOD because it's not like every movie has that market, but also a lot of movies get pulled out of theaters way too soon.
Yeah,
So people
I'm
are
trying
just
to
gonna be
think.
like, well, I'll just wait till it's streaming.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like the ones that like like Hamilton broke records when they put it on streaming. Even Taylor Swift's concert after
Top Gun Maverick was at the
yeah.
top of the charts for weeks. I
Yeah,
remember it was like
yeah.
6-7 weeks or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane. So I'm not surprised by this. I mean, I think this only further points to the idea that if you make it play in a movie theater for a few months, give it the run that it deserves, then more people will want to see. Because here's the thing, I love Top Gun Maverick in a movie theater, and if you were a fan of Wicked, you probably did the same. And then when it came out on streaming, I was like, I need to get this because I want to watch it at home. So I did. And then when the Blu-ray came out, I'm like, I'm gonna collect the Blu-ray. So I did. Now I have the Blu-ray. So they got me 3 times already. And then beyond that, I'm like, I might have rented it for a friend because they wanted to see it. There's another one, and then it's on streaming on Paramount Plus where I've seen it 5,000 times. So like Paramount is getting my money. It's like, you have to take advantage of all these different ways. That's how movies used to make money. Now they've just gotten to a point where it's like streaming.
Yeah,
And
right.
So you're losing all of that extra.
But then they're
money
whining about
potential.
nobody's going to the theater anymore.
Yeah,
Well, dang,
'cause-
what are you doing? Hello.
You're conditioning people to just wait till it's on streaming, literally.
And again, if you're going to give them the option, they're going to take the easiest option and the cheapest option. So hello, like,
Yes.
just
I mean,
wait.
I don't know, like human psychology, guys. Like
Yeah.
marketing, you guys study this all the time. Figure your shit out. Okay. Good point by Enterprising. Agree with you there. And then Fandango guys pulled out these 3 posters from CinemaCon. It looks like 3 of the movies that are gonna, I mean, the Smurfs are missing, but like whatever. These are gonna be the movies of July. None of these posters are brand new at this point. The Jurassic World Rebirth is basically just a logo with names. But
That's how it's always been, though.
Yeah,
to be
that's
fair,
fair.
Jurassic
Yeah, I'm
World has
fine with
always had the dinosaur logo and then the
Yeah.
blackness, so that's cool.
What do you think about this one though? This one looks interesting.
This looks like an interactive one almost. That's cool.
It's like a 3D thing or like a perspective warp or something. That looks really
Okay.
crazy. That's a dinosaur of some kind.
Yeah.
The Toxic Avenger, the hero we need now. I love it.
Hell yeah!
Love that one. I know what you did last summer.
28 years later is ripping off the Predator poster,
Oh, you're right. Yes, it is. Damn, that's
which
so long.
not a good movie to rip off, but I'm sure it's not quality wise, just the poster. But
Would you guys watch Bride Hard? I don't know what that's.
I would watch neither of these movies
see
because I
it,
hate
but
Rebel Wilson and Kevin Hart's producing that one, and
Zio.
gives me the ick, as the peeps
Again,
would say.
I'll see it so you guys don't have to, but no, that looks terrible.
I mean, Rebel Wilson, great that she had her weight loss journey. That's awesome. Good for her, but you're still horribly unfunny. So fuck you.
I did like her in the second Night of the Museum movie. No, the third Night of the Museum.
Third one, yeah.
The third one. That was fun. She was fun. Also, like the second one we had.
No,
one was the
we
one
didn't
with
miss
Joe,
you, Megan.
Jonah
Miss me
Hill,
with this
Brendan.
shit movie, maybe, but
I'll see it.
nah.
I'll see it.
I like when I saw the trailer for the first one, I'm like, this looks like so bad it's good B movie garbage. And no, I just got a bad movie. It's just bad.
So do you
It's
think for
terrible.
the third movie, if they get that far, they're just gonna do Megan,
Well,
like
they
change
will.
the E to a 3, and they don't need a?
I mean, it's
3.0?
supposed to be M3gan. It's like
M3gan.
I don't know. I
But
know they're
like for
doing
the
a spinoff
third
called
one-
Soul 8, where it's 8 in the Yep. That's coming out next January, I believe.
That's a shame.
Okay, great. Thank you, Liz, for checking these movies out for us. Wicked
Yes,
for good.
I'll be seeing them so you don't have to.
Liz, you will be changed if you watch this movie. Wicked
Christ.
for good. Transformation.
Terrible name, but I'm
experience.
gonna watch it because I was surprised with the first one.
Oh, is Glinda
then
gonna be
Nobody
in
too.
blue? So now we're gonna see Ariana in blue for a fucking year? Cool.
Yep, blue and green. Blue and green. Nobody
Right.
too. I want that
Yes.
bracelet. Give me that shit.
Fucking
Hutch is
yes.
back. Hell yeah.
Fucking yes.
That to me is the best poster I've seen so far. The most creative poster.
Do it.
I
Do
can't
it.
wait for this. August, dude, August is gonna be packed. August is gonna be packed. I really have no idea what Bride Heart is all about.
Who else is
I
in this?
can't.
Is that the girl from Modern Family in this?
Is the concept of this movie? No.
Are they like they're bridesmaids ninja assassins?
I think this is a play on Die Hard. It's like instead
Well,
of
yeah, no
Die
shit.
Hard.
obviously.
Okay, never mind.
But they're bridesmaids, and that bride is someone they're protecting for some reason. All right, now I gotta Google the fucking premise behind this.
This is like I'm gonna treat myself to this movie unwittingly, so at least I should know what it's about before I walk in.
When a mercenary group takes a lavish wedding hostage, they have no idea that what they were in for, as the maid of honor is actually a secret agent ready to rain hellfire upon anyone who would ruin her best friend's wedding. I'd like to think I'd be a bridesmaid along those lines myself, but okay. I just want to know
Depends on the.
who's in it.
I mean, depends on the person. I would be It would depend on the bride. If she's a bridezilla, nah, bitch, you can die. But
Yeah.
like, if you know,
Missed me.
if she's cool.
Oh,
then
it's Anna
sure.
Camp. Okay, Anna Camp from Pitch Perfect. Stephen Dorff, Justin Hartley. Wait a minute, gang. Wait a minute. I might be in on this. Mark Valley.
Green Arrow
Holy shit,
himself is in this.
We haven't seen
Damn.
Mark Valley in a hot minute. Wow.
Way to go, Green Arrow! You're doing
Anna
the
Chomsky,
things.
cool. Sam Huntington, cool. I'll be
Wow.
seeing it, gang. I'll be seeing it.
I did not think that we would be spending this much time on Bride Hard, but great.
I mean-
Bride Harder.
You snuck that one in there, Dan.
I guess I did. All right. Well, moving on to the next thing. Liz, Halle
Yeah.
Berry is,
Yeah.
according to Daniel RPK, reportedly close to finalizing her deal to
I
star
thought we didn't
as
like
Storm
him.
in Avengers
not like him?
Doomsday.
Okay.
Daniel RPK is hit or miss, so I wouldn't take this.
He's not Jeff Snyder levels, but he's still not great.
Yeah, it's take it with a grain of salt. This is rumor mill, but
Hopefully, it just stays.
Halle
that
Berry
way.
supposedly almost on the
All
I
right.
mean, I was looking for her in the casting announcement the other day. I didn't see her. I was
You're gonna
like,
dye her hair again? I'm
of
not.
all the people,
I unpopular opinion. I'm not a huge fan of hers. Sorry.
I mean,
So
Halle Berry's
I-
okay. It's just like she didn't do Storm
She
that
didn't.
great.
She didn't bring. Yeah, she didn't bring anything to the character.
Yeah,
So-
which like it. To be fair, it was hard
mean,
to do
Femke
because it's an
didn't either, but-
ensemble cast,
Yeah.
and then it kind of just became Wolverine and Friends.
You
but-
tell me Anna Paquin's coming back. I'll be happy. But I mean, Femke, Halle, they. They don't
speaking
do
of
it
people
much.
that got gypped, Rogue got
Fucking
really
thank
fucking
you.
dripped in.
Don't get me going,
gypped
John.
in
Don't
those
get me
ones.
going. This is quick.
Because like the
But
whole
yes.
thing was like they didn't give her powers because the problem was she got her powers from Miss Marvel in the comics. She
Right.
absorbed her powers. So it's
Right.
like they couldn't have that in the
Killed
movies
her.
because they didn't own Miss Marvel as a character.
Right.
So it didn't work. And obviously they wanted to keep it grounded, not do that.
Again,
So
don't
they
get me
couldn't give her
going,
her powers, which
Don't
was
get me
dumb.
going.
It was dumb. But
I'm
here we
just, You know, and what was the famous dialogue that she had? Like, what happens to
A frog when it's struck by lightning.
struck by lightning? Yeah.
The
the-
same
Yeah.
thing that
Thanks,
happens to
Joss
everybody
Whedon, for that
else.
amazing line.
Great.
I will
And then
just
he
say
came
this,
back
like,
in. He came back in Deadpool and Wolverine. So
He did.
hey,
Here's what I'll say: Halle Berry, you can't go wrong with casting her, and I wouldn't mind seeing her back as
can.
Storm. And not to mention, Storm is a character that was a huge part of the X-Men movies. And if
well,
they
no,
are
absolutely,
bringing,
of course. I'm not denying any of that.
Yeah.
But again, just like Femke, she didn't do it for me. So all right.
I'm like, you know, I want it feels incomplete without both Famke Janssen and Halle Berry.
That's
in there,
fair.
so
That's fair.
I hope that we get to see them. But yeah, well, that's the report right now. Danielle RPK saying it's almost there. So we'll see. And one of the other posters that we've seen at CinemaCon is Thunderbolts. Liz,
This is a new
filmed
poster.
for
We haven't
IMAX.
seen this one yet. This is a new
Yeah,
poster.
it's one of the many. This looks like a digital poster. It looks like an LED board, but I mean, it's more of a, you know, people's faces looking places kind of a poster. Like, it's not really artistic in any way. But I am starting to believe more and more, considering the cast for Doomsday, the Thunderbolts at the end of the movie, they're gonna show the logo, and then it's gonna turn into Avengers, like it does in those movies, like Avengers, like in all the other movies that they have come out. I can't wait to see this movie because I want to see more Red Guardian, and
It's gonna be great.
give me all the Winter Soldier stuff.
Oh, Hydra, fancy.
Fancy.
Yes, please
I
give
will
me
say
more
that.
Red Guardian.
Honestly, I might not pay to see the movie, but I might see Thunderbolts. Like, honestly, here's the
Join
thing.
us, John. Join us.
Here's the thing. I'm curious about it. Will it just be shitty Diet Suicide Squad? Yes. But I do love Sebastian Stan. I like David Harbour, and I do like Florence Pugh. I mean, the rest can kind of fuck off. I like Wyatt Russell, but I just don't care about U.S. Agent. But like, honestly, I might be with Dan here. I might just see it for Red Guardian because like he's funny.
That's fine. And we welcome your dollars.
Like he was the best part of Black Widow, which was an overall pretty garbo movie, but you know.
You know what, man?
And Sentry, yes, that is. How could I forget Lewis Pullman? Bob. The second time, if I had a nickel
Barbarino.
for every character Lewis Pullman played named Bob, where he's in the sky a lot of the
You'd have
time,
2 nickels.
I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
Now, speaking of which, I think this is a good time to bring in Justin Geeky Guy's super chats. He said, "Do you think the X-Men and Doomsday are the same team from the Fox universe? If so, how come Mystique is alive and she died in Dark Phoenix?" 2 very good questions. Liz, what do you think?
Again, we're dealing with variants and multiverse. So, yes, I think they will be the same. I don't know that they're going to be from the timeline that we're familiar with.
I have a theory.
And go ahead, John, please.
No, I don't want to interrupt you. I'm just saying that.
No. I'd like to hear your theory, please.
By the way, before you do, sorry, I just want to mention something quickly.
Okay.
In Spider-Man, No Way
Spider-Man.
Home, they did pull Doc Ock and the other villains from like a particular part in the other timelines.
Right. Yep.
So I
they
guess
could do that.
They could do that, like, you know, where like they die eventually, but not the part of the timeline they pulled them from. Anyway, go ahead, John.
That's true. So here we go. Sorry, I'm changing the music. There we go. So it's conspiracy time. It's conspiracy time. Dan would appreciate this, but he has to leave for a second. So my theory is in regards to the X-Men universe, it's multiple timelines. So essentially, oh come on, why do you gotta cut that off?
It's a copyright thing, man. We can't.
All right, fair enough.
Fine.
Come on.
But anyway, theory time. So X-Men 2 pretty much like until like First Class, whatever the movie before First Class. I think that was X-Men Origins Wolverine. That entire timeline, all those movies, they're in one timeline. Then with Days of Future Past, I think they did a Flashpoint timeline thing. Now in Flashpoint, which is DC, but I think it's the same time travel logic. where Barry goes back in time. But the thing is, it's a ripple effect. Even though he changed something at a certain point in time, it changed stuff in the past, like Superman going into Metropolis instead of Kansas, and then him getting kidnapped by the government, or how Bruce died instead of his parents. So then his dad becomes Batman and his mom becomes Joker. So it's a ripple effect. That's what I think happened with the X-Men franchise, is they essentially, the timeline was intact at one point, but when they changed stuff in Days of Future Past, it was a ripple effect, which caused X-Men First Class to like have changed stuff that didn't totally match the timeline of the first three movies. And then it was a ripple effect from then on out. Now, they did screw some stuff up with Mystique, but I think from First Class on is pretty much a whole new time. Then you have like stuff like Logan.
Wait, didn't they kill
like,
Mystique in one of those movies?
But again, in Deadpool and Wolverine, he goes through so many different timelines looking for his Wolverine.
Yeah, no, it could be just a multiversal thing.
Well, and again, with Mystique as well. Mystique has, I mean, everybody's got their own different timeline, their own different universes. Mystique for a while teams up with Apocalypse in one version, and we who knows, we might get Oscar Isaac back as Apocalypse again. So there's plenty of different things that they can do, because again, multiverse variants, the world is their oyster. Nobody really dies in the Marvelverse. So I mean, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be interesting to see what they do, what they keep the same. For me, I'm actually kind of hoping they just completely blow everything up and change everything around. But obviously they can't do that. There's got to be some consistency from one film to the next. But anything could happen. Just some geeky guy. Anything could happen.
That's true.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say she dies in both timelines. So it's like Mystique is a goner. Elite Easy saying the world is not ready for Thomas Wayne's Batman. Yeah. Well, you know, we could have had Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Thomas Wayne, but well, maybe in another timeline, maybe in a pocket universe. Who knows? James Gunn is up to no good. All right. Justin Geeky Guy also said, I swear to the Beyonder, if they cast Sadie King as Black Cat and not Sweeney, I will personally unleash Doomsday on Kevin Feige. They shall know my name as the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
I like her better than Sweeney myself, but you know, we all have a hill to die on. It's okay.
Well, I mean, so far only one of those actresses is confirmed for the movie, so just some geeky guy, you know, it's just letting you know, Sadie Sink is the only one confirmed. Sydney Sweeney has not been mentioned or even rumored to be in that movie, so maybe that changes in the months to come. Adolescence has become the 9th most watched Netflix show of all time in just 3 weeks. It also became the highest watched series in the UK, even more so than any TV show that was actually on broadcast or cable, meaning it was the first streaming TV show to beat out any broadcast show. I mean, Liz, are you surprised? Have you had a chance to check this out yet?
I've been on the fence about seeing it, but the more I'm reading about it and the more I think I am gonna watch it, just to educate myself, because apparently emojis don't mean what my generation thinks emojis mean, and I kind of want to delve more into that, because they talk about incels, and what I believe to be an incel is actually completely different from what this generation's incel means now. So like just the lingo and the verbiage and you know, just decoding what the kids are talking about these days, that's pretty much the reason I'm going to tune in at this point, because I'm reading this article and I'm like, okay, fuck, none of this makes sense to me. So I guess I need to, you know, get up to date with what the kids have got going on. But it's definitely going to traumatize.
Yeah. I simply am not watching this show because I'm like, this is a little too dark of a show right now for everything that's going on in my.
I mean, that's why I stopped watching The Handmaid's Tale, so I get it.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna sit on this for a little bit, but I mean, it's clearly hitting, you know, home.
But it's important for sure. It's certainly important. Yeah.
And I've seen some really fantastic articles talking about the show and just like what it means, like, you know, the conversations parents should have with their kids, and like if it can stir up that kind of conversation, then it's, you know, the show is doing its job. Moving on to the next thing, Max has rebranded its logo. We talked about this before. It was coming, now it's here. Apparently they've gone from the colorful blue to now just the black and white. which looks very HBO-like. I think the goal here being that where they before wanted to have the blue to appeal more to a family audience with more kids, they're now going back to more of that adult audience appealing look that's closer to the HBO branding. Do you guys care for this? Do you think this is gonna help people associated more with HBO?
No,
I don't get it personally. Like,
if it's so important that it's associated with HBO, fucking call it HBO.
HBO Max.
Like it's
exactly.
I don't care. I don't care. This is not news.
It looks like HBO Max is going through its emo phase now. Maybe they are bringing Zack Snyder back.
That's fair.
They're bringing him back, guys. This is it. The Snyder Bros are going to get excited here. They're bringing him back.
Max. Now we're moody.
It's so dark and depressing now. Zack Snyder's coming back, guys.
We're edgy now. Okay.
We're edging. We're edgy and we're edgy. That's a joke, guys. Snyder Bros, please don't get excited. Zack Snyder's not coming back.
Hashtag restored the Snyderverse. Yeah, we win. We win. Okay, all right, cool. We're gonna get past that before people start believing the joke. IMAX and AMC theaters have inked a deal to deploy new tech in more than 180 cinemas. Now, of course, what they're talking about here is IMAX with laser technology, which was unveiled Tuesday at CinemaCon. So as you can imagine, here's the thing: the traditional projectors, they use bulbs that will project light and give you an image on the screen. Laser projection is, as it says in the name, these are just like a
sharks with
shit ton of
laser beams on their heads.
And you get a much better image, you get better contrast, you get a much brighter image, so you can actually see what the fuck is going on in the dark in a Game of Thrones scene.
And you get another fucking thing they put ahead of your movie, so you get 20 minutes worth of fucking previews, then you get their laser promo, then you get Nicole. Oh no, I'm sorry, hold on. You get 20 minutes of preview,
commercial.
Then you get the fucking Coke commercial, then you get the laser promo, then you get Nicole. You actually get the laser promo before the trailers too, so you get 2 laser promos. Fuck a duck, AMC. I've been here for an hour already, you bastards. Just fix my oven at my theater. I haven't had a pizza in months. Dude, I don't give a shit about your bulbs. Fix my fucking oven, man. Sorry. That was a personal having feelings.
Well, thank you. Under the agreement, AMC will also add 12 new IMAX locations and upgrade an additional 68 to IMAX with laser. So this will make AMC basically the world's largest IMAX operator. I personally I've seen the IMAX theaters that have IMAX with laser. It's a much better picture quality overall, and
I still prefer Dolby's. Dolby's still the best experience you're going to get.
Dolby is really good, but I tell you though, IMAX with laser is better because laser projection is like the cream of the crop of theater projection technology. So it's like having an OLED, like a QLED TV, where you get the best of the both worlds. You get the brightness.
Listen, you don't gotta tell me, Dan. I've seen it. I've been there myself. I know. I get it.
So I can't wait for this.
Just fix my oven, you bitch. That's all I care about. And also, how can the CEO of AMC afford a dinner with corn and sweat if they're spending all this money on bulbs, for goodness sakes? But anyway, I digress. I just want my pizza back. Sorry.
Enterprising is like some PTSD there, Liz. Yeah.
You don't understand. You don't understand what's been going on in my theater, you guys.
I'm sure they can hear about it on your podcast. Try not to.
Indubitably. I don't know what the context is.
Or you can go check out John on YouTube. And his YouTube channels. All right, moving on to the next and the last story of the day. Liz, we will finish on a Marvel story. Iron Fist actor Finn Jones said that give me an effing chance, guys. I want to come back. I'm aware of the critiques. I want to prove people wrong. Would you welcome Finn Jones to potentially play Iron Fist in the MCU?
Of course.
He's
learn
not
how
my
to fight.
favorite. Yeah, he's not my favorite, but but I mean, unfortunately, this headline reeks of desperation. So it's like, ugh, kind of. Hopefully they do.
I mean,
and it also confuses me because they reference Jessica Jones and then they continue to refer to him as Jones in the article. So I kept getting confused. Like, wait, who are we talking about?
Yeah, I don't think he was. I mean, I didn't hate Iron Fist. I thought it was.
No, I didn't hate it either. Yeah.
I thought it was a good show. Like, it wasn't.
And I
It
love
was
Defenders.
probably the worst
so-
one out of the 4, but like honestly, it wasn't that. I mean, Defenders was probably the weakest one. Like even
I
though it was a
enjoyed Defenders,
miniseries,
but I like all.
it was.
I
It's like
like
all of
the
them were fine.
characters,
Like
yeah,
Daredevil and Luke Cage were the best.
I love
Iron
Jessica
Fist
Jones.
and Jessica Jones were kind of the lesser ones, but not like bad. But I think it's just like with everybody coming, like you have Charlie Cox coming back, you have all these other people, like you have the Fox X-Men coming back, you have so many people coming back. You would think that we're long gone. He's like, yo, give Finny Boy a chance. Come on now. I understand I fucked up, but like,
Yep.
all we're saying is give Finn a chance.
No,
Like,
John, no.
so,
Yeah, I mean,
I think he
also,
deserves it.
Like when you look at where things potentially are headed in season 2 or maybe even season 3 of Daredevil, I think they might be looking to bring back the whole band. Like they might want to bring the whole Defenders back.
I
If
hope they
are looking
do.
to
I
that-
love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
hope
if they
they
are
do.
looking to bring the whole band back together, then yeah, Finn Jones, I guess, would be part of it, right? Because he was in the Defenders. He is part of that Netflix heritage, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Finn Jones wants back as Iron Fist. And like you guys said, if it's written better, if it's directed better, if he goes into the gym and learns a bit more of the martial arts, that is if he wants to do his own stunts, I wouldn't mind seeing him back. I think it was a little exaggerated, his performance. Like, it wasn't that bad. Come on, guys.
It was.
But hey, on that note, we will bring an end to the quick hits because that's all we got for today. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching the show, the quickest, the news, DC news. We got into DCU Daily real early. We talked about all the Superman stuff we got today. I'm sure there'll be more to break down tomorrow, more news. We'll dive in a little bit deeper into what the previews meant. Of course, the footage, the extra special Superman footage before Minecraft comes out this week. We're
The only way to get people to see the Minecraft movie.
It's literally raising the expectations for what that movie will do at the box office.
It's gonna make so much money, that friggin' movie.
It comes out on Thursday. There might be an early screening where you are, so I'm sure we'll be talking about what that footage is very, very soon. In the meantime, as always, guys, hit that like button while you're here. Thank you so much for joining us on an extra long edition of DCU Daily on Oso.
It's extra long. This is just normal fucking shit. Almost 4 hours. Come on, we've done that before.
This is the Snyder cut of the DCU Daily episodes. I can tell. That's definitely what happened here. But yeah, hit that like button. We appreciate you guys always. And be sure to join us again tomorrow. We'll be back to talk about Universal Pictures and their presentation. We've got lots more beyond that, I'm sure.
Sinners. Yes, Enterprising Sinners. Let's
Hell
fucking
yeah.
go.
Hell yeah.
Fucking
it's gonna be
vampire
fun.
Haley Steinfeld for the fellas, and Michael B. Jordan covered in baby oil.
Two of them.
Times two for the
One with a gold
ladies.
tooth or two. Yes, please.
and then interlocking stuff with gay people and all that shit. So everybody's covered. Everybody is covered.
We checked all the boxes. Well, speaking of checking the boxes, Liz, where can the good people find you when you're not on the show here?
Try Not to Curse podcast, anywhere you get your Audible content.
Awesome. And then John, where can the good people find you when you're not on here?
We just did an April Fool's stream on the Cool Kids.
No, you didn't.
Oh,
get out of here.
We did. I mean, kind of, sort of. We were setting it up that we were reviewing Snow White, but we reviewed
No.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Dude.
So, so we did that. It was cute. And then I just uploaded a Doctor Who video on my channel. So get pumped for that. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of views, but if you want to watch it anyway, go ahead, or don't. I don't know. I'm not in control of your life. Do whatever the fuck you want. I'm just a guy on the internet.
Well, so are all of us and you guys watching. Well, speaking of being on the internet, we'll be back on the internet tomorrow on more DCU Daily. So be sure to stop by. Like I said, hit that like button on your way out. Drop any of your comments down below. Thank you so much, Just Some Geeky Guy, and anybody and everybody who always sends us wonderful super chats. We appreciate it. It pays the salaries. It keeps the channel going. So we do appreciate the support. We'll be back here tomorrow with another fantastic show. Lots of news to discuss. Liz will be back with us later on as well. I believe next week. So we'll see you next week, Liz. But John and I will be here the rest of the week. More Superman, more Fast and Furious. We're gonna get a lot of family this week. I have a feeling there'll be some Dom Toretto to talk about. So until next time, guys, and more Superman, We'll see you in another episode of DCU Daily.